Welcome. Welcome back to the watch. For those of you who had the privilege to join me last week, I had a prediction about this episode because it was leading into a battle episode. And let's just say it surpassed my expectations. I can't help but be surprised at stupidity. Shoot me. It's something I have difficulty comprehending. And to make such bad choices, I would need to put in efforts to actively think up such bad, stupid stuff. Yeah, so bad. Kay, thanks. Bye. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, horrendously bad. Now, it could be that I might be a little hypersensitive to the subject matter because it's a battle episode, and you might know that I am a avid, enthusiast of medieval warfare, battle weapons and stuff, and so this whole episode was like warfare and battle, and I think every thing was stupid. And if not that, every scene was loaded with so many stupid things. My notes go well over several pages. I have them typed out this time. Yeah, it was just astounding. And wait until I show you some of the specifics, guys. It's spitting, slap in the face, stupid kind of stuff where you're just wondering, how can a rational mind watch that? Come up with and think that's good, that's really cool? Some of it is really dumb. You don't even need an understanding of the laws of physics to see it as dumb. You just need if you observe the world and how natural physical things kind of react, you understand basic principles of cause and effect, the stuff is going to just slap you in the face with its stupidity. We are Harbringer, good to see you. For $2 says, evening. Guessing they did good battle strategy. No, it's we have an army of mounted cavalry ready to attack us. What should we do? I know, let's leave the cover of the trees and assemble on a wide open field. That's the best way to handle cavalry, right? We got no defenses. We got no stakes, no shields, no spears or anything. And we're in a forest that would break up the cavalry charge. Let's go out. Who's writing this? And you don't need to be an enthusiast like me with medieval warfare to just realize that's really dumb. That's just scratching the surface of this episode. And as a result, because it's just such a constant barrage of dumb and terrible writing, this was the worst episode for me so far. And maybe others will get different mileage out of this episode. Some people might enjoy it. It's action. But for people who do not turn their brains off to watch media, right? Just seeing it's battle, right? Flashy weapons. That is not going to do it for them. Okay, you need something of substance underpinning the battle. But this is like the big moment, the big set piece kind of parts of this series. They were promoting season 2 as it's got 2 full episodes of nothing but battle, and so far this is the worst one. We got a super chat from PL Hammerhand for 25 PLN. Hello, Wings. By the way, my currency is Polish. Is it toy? 1 USD equals 383 PLN. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that super chat. We are Harbinger for $2 says, oh no, not cavalry again. Yeah, it's man. The logistics of this battle are so stupid. Not only for what I mentioned about the strategy of like, let's put ourselves in the worst possible, formation for taking on a cavalry charge. There's so much. So I think we better just rip the Band-Aid off and dive into it. It took me a while to get through this one. Like the longest viewing session I had to push myself through because I just kept on having to pause. I couldn't do it in just one whole thing. I like pause, I don't know, between 10 and 20 times throughout the episode just to take a breather and try and brace myself to get. It was relentless stupidity. It's the type of show that will cause you to lose brain cells. Is this what their plan is? They want to lower the IQ of the population, and so they make crap like Rings of Power to just put people under a barrage of sludge that melts your brain. Oh, but okay, yes. Let's get into it. So the episode begins, and they didn't even have the intro. It just kind of goes straight in to the episode here. And it's Celebrimbor, and he's having a good old time. He is just like he's drinking his drink, is under the illusion still. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. He's planning a thing, he's making the rings, and the making of the rings, like these are rings of power. They're showing it's very mundane. There's not real mysticism happening here. It's just like, he's being a jeweler at this point. And you'd think for such powerful artifacts, there'll be something more significant in their crafting outside of the materials that are being put into making them. But is just being a jeweler, essentially. And they're mostly complete, right? You see, these are the 9 rings of men, as you see right here. And Sauron comes in to basically get an update. How's it going? Oh, wait. He sees a mouse. It's important because it reveals how Sauron's magic works. Sauron does some magic here, and I'm just like, they're already being very inconsistent. He can literally mind control some people under his influence, which indicates that's his power. He can mind control people, literally controlling them to kill themselves. Okay. And then he can't control other people who are also supposed to be under his influence. And he's got to tell like Celebrimbor to do stuff when he can just mind control people now. Oh, Celebrimbor isn't as weak-minded as the other guys. That'll probably be their excuse. It's like, hang on, no. Celebrimbor's been one of the most susceptible, weak-willed-minded people in the show so far. So that's what I predicted in the last review. They are being completely arbitrary with the magic, not being consistent. It's just, you can just do random magical things now. One made me laugh. One actually made me laugh. Kiora, sorry, I cannot pronounce that because I'm a retard. $5 says they are trying to accelerate idiocracy. I wouldn't put it past them. I think there's a lot of organizations in the world that's like people to be just useful idiots. Don't think about it. Just consume products and get excited for next product. Okay, don't put on a critical thinking. Don't think about it. This is just flashy lights, big spectacle, expensive visual effects. That's all you really need. You don't need anything of substance. Okay, you don't need a good story. And in terms of like messaging and themes, you don't need heroism. You don't need traditional values. In fact, we want to supplant the values that society appreciates by. Let's push out some other themes and messages in this stuff, which, we point out a lot here on Night's Watch. All right, so Celebrimbor sees a mouse. Remember the mouse because he starts to notice weird things. He looks at his hammer and the hammer is like missing a gem or something. But anyway, Sauron comes in and he also saw his reflection and there was like a weird kind of he looked messy and dirty, but when Sauron comes in, he looks back, it's all back fine. And they say something. It says, these past weeks have been great. Celebrimbor actually says like past weeks. And I had to pause. I was just like, hang on. Weeks? You're telling me weeks have passed since the last episode? And it's, again, one of those moments where I'm always assuming that they can't be this inconsistent and dumb in the writing, because if it's been weeks, this whole siege has been going on for this, like, what, the city is dead? Relief hasn't come yet? Have they been bombarding the whole time? But if he's made the rings of power, like these 9 rings of power, which he didn't start no, it must have been weeks. Weeks literally have passed since the beginning of the siege. And no one has come in to check on Celebrimbor in weeks. No one, in this, and there's a battle raging outside. And when the illusion breaks later in the episode, you see what this place actually looks like. And it's got friggin' rubble everywhere. Like, the city's been getting bombarded. Like, one of those trebuchet shots could have easily hit the tower and killed the guy during this time, let alone the logistics, because the bombardment from these like artillery, level trebuchets have been going on constantly for not just 1 week. It says weeks, plural, more than 2. The city should be rubble by now, and the attacking army hasn't done anything else through this whole time apart from bombardment. They did you didn't try and sneak into the walls or rally or do any type of thing. And what's funny is that there's a river in the way that's stopping them from attacking the walls, right? And they have genius, really big brain plan to deal with this river. And they could have done it at the beginning of the siege and the bombardment, but they decided to wait weeks, use all their, well, they don't seem to run out of artillery shells for these trebuchets. They effectively are artillery shells. They are insanely OP. They're not realistic in any measure. What trebuchet, are actually able to shoot or fire or throw. Okay. But the way, because they use the trebuchets to deal with the river, and it's comical. It's like spit take stupid. And they could have done it at any moment. In fact, it would have been really smart to start with that, okay? Instead of waiting several weeks, using all your resources of everything, just bombarding the city. And yeah, you might want to do some level of bombardment, but weeks worth? And the reason is, right, the writers, they needed to give Celebrimbor enough time to make the 9 rings. It takes time to make the rings. So, we just had the city start to become under siege. Oh, so how are we going to have like the city? We'll have now sieges can last a long time. I'm not saying they can't. Sieges can last months, even up to a year. All right. But they are showing that this city has been basically under constant bombardment through the whole time. We'll get to in the episode, right? When sieges last a long time, it's because the besieging force is starving him out. It's not constant, destruction. And again, this orc army could have dealt with the river and started to actually do some assaults on the city at any time. All right. But they wait this time period because there's of a contrivance in the plot that they need Celebrimbor to have the time to make the rings. You know what they could have just done is not have them attack that soon. Just have them attack a bit later, well within when the rings are being made, and then the rings are almost complete, and then do that. But because of unfathomable reasons, no, they're going to attack now. It's been weeks. All right. That's what they're doing. While a Yamuna for 17 months member says, the thing that infuriates me the most about shows like this is the lack of knowledge about the most basic aspects of warfare. 100%. Not only that, I would say lack of knowledge of the most basic aspects of common sense and reality. Like just understanding the flow of time, right, makes this show ridiculous because they are constantly just teleporting and not understanding how it just works normally. Common sense breaks this show. We are Harbinger for $5 says, keeping the elves suppressed with the artillery while you build boats or bridges, wouldn't that be a better way? Yeah, absolutely. Also, what are the orcs eating for weeks? They must have a really good supply chain. Yeah, like you kind of, I was assuming that, well, are they preparing something? And then when they reveal that they didn't need to prepare anything, they could have done it any time. Just like, why am I giving these people the benefit of the doubt? I constantly assume that they would do something that a normal logical person would just think up. But it's like I said, I have to put effort into coming up with something equally dumb as what is in this show. It's not a natural thing for me. So I constantly never gravitate or think or preempt the stupid that appears in this show. And when it does, it just is like a slap in the face. Like, are you kidding me? And it's consistent. It's all throughout season 1. And it's like, wow, the only impressive thing about this show is how consistently bad it is. Because you would think some shows, oh, there's a good episode or a good moment. Like, this is just constant, unending barrage of stupidity and sludge. So painful to get through. Oh, yeah. Mages Guild for $10 says, it has been at most 3 days. The candle scene was to show that time passing was part of the illusion. You basically spent 3 days and nights at most knocking out 9 rings. Elf army teleported in. They say weeks. He says these weeks. And remember, I assumed that when he said weeks first, I was like, hang on. Maybe he's referring to that whole time that Sauron has been there. But other things later on the episode actually indicates that no, it has been weeks. Okay. All right. We shall continue. But let's see if we can find where he says it. It's a bit hard to find the exact lines. Yeah, it might be to take me too much time and waffling to find where he says, yes, these weeks have been so wonderful. He also says a weird line here, and it's just, again, one of their like contrived dialogue trying to be Tolkienian. And it's, my work is but to let them share the secrets of their song. And I'm like, you have no idea what that means. You're just trying to be poetic without actual meaning or substance. And it's weird because Sauron is like, I've truly enjoyed our time together. And it almost gives the vibe as like, you guys are being very familiar with each other. Anyway, makes you raise an eyebrow. All right. So they're saying, moving on, when we separate, it'll be sad that we won't be able to see each other. And he then leaves Celebrimbor to keep working, and he walks aside, and the bombardment's still going on. And I'm like, it's been happening. And look at the destruction on this city, right? Like, this is one of the things that indicates weeks, okay? To wreak this level of destruction, okay, with trebuchets, right? Yeah, it would take weeks to do this. This is crazy. Like, I'm sorry, with the amount of trebuchets you have, and the city is almost in rubble. Look at this, okay? So when I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, it has. They've been at this for friggin' weeks. Oh my gosh. Extrangula, I think. I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff. For $10 says, Romance of Men workshop suffered very damaging fire and they lost a significant amount of production and supply. Please show them some support. Dude, that sucks. I need to look into that. Romance of Men is an affiliate sponsor that we've worked with on Shadiversity, and All right, I'll have to see. Thank you for letting me know, and thank you for the super chat. Mages Guild for $10. Given that the words come from Sauron and they also cover the making of the Seven Rings, if he truly means weeks, it's the duration of episode 3 to 7. I called it that Sauron would be the wife. I don't know. See, I think it's actually been from the last episode to this one. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. It's the impression I get, especially from the destruction wrought over this time. Because just look at that. And a lot of the criticism, by the way, still, if it's been like 2-3 days, can he make 9 like rings of power in that time on his own? I don't think so. But at the same time, over this, like, look at with the destruction that's hit the city. I'm just thinking, and especially the rubble they show in his workshop, Galadriel could have easily died at any moment. And remember, this siege, Sauron has manipulated this to happen. He wants this to happen, and they give the reason in this episode, and it is just bonkers the stupidity of the reason. Like, I'll reveal it when we get there, going through the episode. But I want you guys to try and preempt and predict. What do you think was the reason why Sauron lured Adar to besiege Eregion while the Rings of Power are being made? What would be his reason? And I have a feeling not many of you actually, because I couldn't think of it either, right? But if you do, I guess you can understand stupid better than me. Because it's one of those reasons, right? Piston for $2 says, we will make an troll show up this episode, Shad? Will Mike? Oh, Mike. Ermintrout, I think. Yes, yeah, he shows up. He shows up. It's underwhelming what they use him for on top of that. All right. When Sauron comes out, okay, the elves like go to him and it's like, what's going on? Where everything's going so bad. And there's just this funny line where I can't remember. I can't see exactly where he says, but someone, and it might be Sauron, says, the river will protect us. You know, that, and like the river will protect us. Like, just take a look at this. The river will protect us. That river's doing a hell of a lot of protecting, isn't it? The city is in rubble, but the river will protect us. And it was just like comical that he would say that line when the elves come to him for help. Like, you know, how will we survive this? And the city is in rubble. It's like you guys are already defeated. Oh my gosh. It is I just laughed. And check it out. We got a super chat from Babylon. PLN50 says, oh, Shad, you're full of yourself. Sustaining a bombardment for a long time is trivial, and there's no problem with supply lines. I know. I played the Battle of Middle Earth at least twice. That could make you an expert. That could make you an expert. Thank you for the super chat. The river protects. The sea is always right. Such an obsession with bodies of water in this series. It's very odd. With every moment we remain idle, the elves die. I just want to see if that line where he says, we must do something. And he's like, that is why, because he's trying to say that Celebrimbor is telling everyone not to like fight. And it's like, we will disobey. Gather your finest troops. And I'm taking command of the defenses. And like, he's this random guy. No one's given him the badge of authority. Celebrimbor hasn't said anything. He's just like, yeah, I'm taking control. Okay. And that's enough. Everyone does it. And he's trying to say Celebrimbor is crazy now. She's not alone. And then the bombardment ends. The siege engines have gone silent. So this is one of the moments, guys. This is so. The show reveals this as like a big brain moment. They like the writers think this is clever. Okay, because remember, they just said the river will protect us, which makes me really want to find the line, but I'm taking man of our defenses. And might take too long. But anyway, I wrote it specifically because it's in this conversation where he's like, yes, the river will protect us, right? And then the very next scene, the orcs, they're going to do something. They're going to do something to solve the problem of the river. How do you think they will solve the problem of the river to be able to cross it and besiege the city? Okay, so the bombardment stops. And then the orcs, they shift the angle of their trebuchets. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh no, they're not. They're really not doing really? Really? So watch what happens. They change the angle, right? And they're like showing, all the trebuchets, they're now aiming off in this direction. And everyone's like, oh no, Celebrimbor was more mistaken than we knew. Prepare for a ground assault, because it is figured out what they're going to do, right? So they launch these trebuchets facing towards a mountain. All right. And they're just watching. Now, this may be just like spit at just like, what's going on? Look at the range of these things. It's just like, it's traveling like kilometers, miles through the air. Okay. At a mountain made of rock and stone. I mean, even if they could reach this range, and there's no hope in any reality that trebuchets could hit this range, right? This is solid rock. They would smack, break into pieces, and nothing would happen. But just watch, right? They sail through the air and they hit with the power of meteorites. Like, look at them. Just boom, smacks into this stone mountain. And the show is like trying to sell this as this epic reveal. Like, look at the plan they've had all along. And by the way, yeah, they had this all. They could have done this at any friggin' time. But they just decide to do it now. Because reasons. How do you mess up rocks? I know, right? You don't need to be a master of physics to understand, like, this is retarded. This is really, how can you mess this up? Oh my gosh, William Mooner from 5 says, let's be fair. Maybe they intended to make rings of power for the Indian market. Bahubali. I get ya. Bahubali is they use trebuchets in an interesting way, but that's clearly done tongue-in-cheek. Check out Bahubali if you want to know what I'm talking about. We are harboring a $5 says, man, orc artillery is like, no, like holy crap. Like this is more powerful than modern artillery. I'm not kidding, like, I guess they lost that tech when going after Gondor. If you made it snowy, thus an avalanche, that would be something, right? So, and then they give an angle where they show the full distance. And look at what they're doing. This is like, I'm so clever. My master plan is coming to fruition. And that's the show thinking it's clever. And it's like, it's not. It's really not. It's getting rocks wrong. Mage's Guild for $10 says, yet another reason that the level of destruction as depicted based on the destructive power of your projectiles does not need weeks. They must be firing depleted uranium shells. That you might have a point there, because like these things are like napalm or meteorites or something like that. It's crazy. Piston for $2 says, I thought they were going to drain the river of water. Wait for it. Thank you for the feedback. Carmen Ryder KFP says, apologies for being late. Well, thank you for joining us anyway. I was a bit late anyway myself. After witnessing that episode, I had to take a very long shower to wash away the cringe of disgust. It took me a long time to get through. I don't know how long this stream is going to go, guys, but there's a lot to break down. It might be a late one for me because, oh boy. So thank you for joining me for this ride. Darkin155 for $20 says, but you don't understand. It's because of the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Thank you for reminding me of that cringe, and thank you for the $20 super chat. PL Hammerhand for $2.25. PL, it says, orcs believe they can shoot this far, thus it's firing this far. 40k orcs logic. They might be utilizing that, right? Like, they didn't tell. They must, or like they just know these trebuchets have infinite range. Essentially, they can hit whatever we aim for. And so he, like Adar, is clever. He knows that they could hit this range. That's tested, right? But how does he know it will take down the side of the mountain? And you might be saying, why do they want to take us out of that? They are literally taking, like, blowing apart half of a mountainside to dam the river in front of Eregion. That's the plan. And it's just like, how did you know that? I know he knows because he's read the script, right? But if we were to pretend that this had to conform to some in-world consistency or logic, which they don't give a crap about, or they just don't have the talents to do it, all right? But if it had to, how would Adar know that these trebuchets would be able to knock down half of the side of a friggin' mountain made of stone? But he just knows because they're so confident. So they are launching these things, and look at the range of this. Look at the range. See, that's the city. The trebuchet. This is the city. Trebuchets are way down there, and they are just flying through the sky. Do you see the rocks? Just like what the heck? Are you crazy? How far do you think this is, guys? Let me know. This is miles, right? and I'm watching this like, again, this is a cartoon. How often in these reviews do we see something so stupid that the only comparison, like, this is like an animated comical cartoon where they're purposely doing something stupid against the laws of physics, but it's a cartoon so they don't care and it's just for the comedic effect, where this show is doing it unironically. Yeah, John the Knight for 20 CZK. Middle Earth Orc rocket program went. I know, right? We are harboring for $2. Says, never mind, I guess those were Tomahawk missiles. Unironically more powerful than modern day friggin' artillery. And then the damage they do to cause like half the mountain falling down. It's just, give me, come on. Why are you doing this show? And look, so one thing falls down, but it's not over yet because they keep hitting it. And then this massive bit of rock is also going to collapse completely, knocks down more. And it just like works. In reality, even if they could hit this range, they would just be shattering. Look at how solid this rock face is, right? They'd just be shattering on the side of the rock face. No, it's not going to cause an avalanche like this. This is beyond an avalanche. This is like dislodging massive pillars of stone that falls down, crushes, and it just completely clogs up the river. Like, worked like a charm. And Adar just knew that's exactly what would happen because he's read the script. And they're like, oh, I guess the river isn't going to protect us. Dang. Like, why? Do you have anyone who could think logically when you're writing this? There's so many ways, solutions that you could do to justify or solve the problem of the river, right? Why did you have to choose something so stupid and brain breaking with the like defying physics logic of having trebuchets shoot over a distance of miles to take down half of a mountain. Come on. William Mana 5 says, this gives me vibes of that He-Man crossing the cliff by... I've actually watched that episode recently. He crosses the cliff by throwing a hook with a rope and closing the cliff by pulling the rope towards him. It's hilarious. He-Man is just such dumb fun. But unironically, He-Man needs to cross a ravine. He throws his power sword with a rope tied to it, pulls on it, and it closes up. It gives you those vibes. Like I said, this is a cartoon at this point. Gosh, this is a good question. What is dumber, a river to start a volcano or a trebuchet 10 miles to knock down a rock face to dam the river? It's a toss-up at this point, isn't it? And like, we're not even that far into the episode, and my brain is melting. I just, and then, right, this river, it drains pretty darn quick. Do they show any of it? Or maybe they show the river draining a bit later because it cuts to our guy, Discount Legolas. He's on the march. He gets to, but actually, no, they do show some of the river already draining. Okay. So it would drain kind of fast in terms of if it completely stopped up, right? Because this river has a lot of water running through it. It was a really, really big river. But here's the thing, okay? If we take a bit of a closer look, right? You can kind of see back here. I think this is where the rubble that dammed it up, okay? With the huge amount of water that flows through this river, depending on how far this kind of ravine goes back and depending on how high that thing is, it actually end up flooding and damming quite a ways back. But because it's not that high, I actually think the dam would fill up relatively quickly. Like, what, a couple of days is what I'm assuming. I could be way off base. Look, this is one of those areas I don't have the expertise in. Correct me in chat if you know any of the information on that. But I'm kind of, I get the impression that with the volume of water that moves through this river, it would actually fill up pretty quickly. And guess what happens after the dam fills up? It will overflow and the river comes back. Congrats! You played yourself. But of course, this is just magically stopping the river indefinitely while that dam is there for however long the show needs it to be. Extanglia for $10 says they are using the same physics that the Taliban used to take down the towers. Thank you for the super chat. Thomas V for $5 says, if the trebuchets could destroy a mountain from miles away, how would they not immediately level the entire city from much closer? Good point. Like, the city should be rubble at this point with how powerful these things are. Okay. And so maybe Mage's Guild does have a point that the destruction probably could have happened over a much shorter period of time. Alilua? I'm horrible at pronouncing. You guys are just gonna have to get used to it because I'm terrible at reading. For €5, I think, says, shame. At this point, I honestly thought Galadriel was going to give the orc swimming lessons. Shouldn't be giving those effers ideas, to be fair. I wouldn't. You're right. I wouldn't put so much stupid stuff happens in this show that even when you think of something dumb and it's like they would never do that, right? No, don't bet on it. John the Knight for 20 CZK. Elf armor is funny. Was it laying 200 years in a crypt? The elf armor looks horrendous in this episode. All right, so critical orc theory for $5 says Ukraine is asking us to give them trebuchets to hit Moscow. That's how good orc technology is. Better than puny human missiles. Yes, at this point. Yes. So they do show the river start to even drain like pretty quickly. But if it's draining that quickly, that's a lot of water that's just moved out. Okay, look at it. And so that means the dam would fill up really quickly is my kind of understanding of this. But they're just going to go with it because that's what happens in the plot. Kelly Grimboy, he starts to notice things that are not really, he sees the mouse again and is like, I already saw the mouse. And I'm thinking, this is an illusion. Are you telling me that Sauron can't make his illusions without them playing on a loop? But that seems to be the case. Like, Sauron's illusion plays on a loop with the mouse running past at the same time, and Celebrimbor notices. It's like, why? If it's powerful enough to make an illusion, why would he add a mouse in to run across the floor and then forget that it's on a loop? That's just it. That's how his magic works. Okay, so now we're back to the dwarves, and they're saying like Eregion is under siege. I just want to make sure that I'm not, because I've got to check my notes. Don't want to miss any of the notes, but I think we're still good. I think I cover them all. Okay, so remember Durin? He's like stopped the dwarves, digging deeper into the mountain. And his dad is saying, you got to start anyway. And your son is down there, and the princess. And the Dwarven king dad is basically just gone full evil. It's like, yeah, stuff him. Every hour we delay riches, we lose riches. And we must continue digging, he says. Gotta keep it up. And this is where the dwarves come and confront Deezer and Durin. And they're just still hanging out there. They're still hanging out. We got a super chat with 500 ARS from a currency that I remember he shared a super chat previously, and it's not that much. But anyway, I still really appreciate any amount that you give. But he let us know that it's not a full 500, but still, thank you for the super chat. So to summarize, we had an elf surviving a pyroclastic blast, a trebuchet destroying a mountain, water on lava making an entire new land because of a key with the shape of a sword, and finally, a guy putting a wig and nobody recognizes him. This show. Yeah, this is basically what we get, except the wig isn't the disguise, we found out, because he actually reveals himself to Celebrimbor, telling him that he was Halbrand. So people do, but it's because they didn't know he's still hiding the fact he's Sauron. But everything else, you're 100%. Like, this show has some of the dumbest stuff in it. All right, so back to Durin, and they're ready to fight. Check it, they're ready to fight. But then the dwarves like, we're not going to fight. We're going to join you because your dad's gone crazy, and our kingdom is the only kingdom in peril. The elves are under attack too, and someone is here to see you. And it's Elrond. Elrond is they're good buddies, remember? Good, even though Elrond lied to him constantly and just took advantage of him. Elrond is the worst friend ever, right? If you remember what happened in episode 1, such a jerk. What an awful friend. But anyway, they're going to pretend that they're great mates. And this is actually kind of important because later on, Durin reveals that he knows Sauron has made these rings. But then they completely let's just gloss over the fact that means Durin would know Sauron helped make the ring that his dad is wearing. They just kind of don't acknowledge that, because Durin's actions, if he found out that Sauron made the friggin' ring his dad is wearing, well, it explains all the weird, corrupt stuff that's happening with him. But that would mean it was priority number 1 is get that friggin' ring off his dad. I gotta get a whole heap of, because he tried to get it off before, but he was just on his own. Okay, well then get 50 guys to help you at this point. I don't think Durin the Elder could handle, taking out, because he's more powerful with the ring, but I think you could manage it. But that would be priority number 1. He just kind of doesn't even register it. He does say that, Sauron's making 9 rings for men, but what about the Dwarven rings, mate? He just forgets it. Senior John Justica 499 says, the Orc News Network reports that the siege of Eregion has been fiery, but mostly peaceful. It's been very fiery. Yeah. All right. I need to check my notes. Basically, Elrond has come to say, look, we need your help. We got to save Eregion, and I need your army, and we're going to die without your aid. And Durin's just like, okay, sure. And that's that scene. Back to the mean old orcs, because now the river from that big brain tactical, strategy. The river's gone, and so now they can finally attack the city, even though they could have dammed the river when they first started. But now's the time, because, all right, and so they're just gonna attack the city. Now, at first, this is it's got a city wall, right? And I was gonna say, where's the city wall's battlements? Because we see some of the defenders. There's no battlements, but then again, I was thinking, it's on the riverside, and so do they think they don't need? But if they are going to be shooting across the river, you'd think there'll be some battlements. Otherwise, why have a wall? It does elevate you. I get that, right? But by having a wall, that kind of indicates that it's going to be used for defense in some way. If you're going to use it for defense, you probably want some cover, hence battlements. But there's no crenellations on it. They're just shooting, and as a result, they get hit pretty easily because orcs shoot back. The orcs, this thing right here. It's like the stupidity is relentless in this show. It beats you down. It kind of numbs you, because how this device is supposed to work is so dumb. But this is like a intimidating, scary device the Orcsies have to pull down a stone wall. And when you see how it works, you'll laugh, right? Is he shooting on the... Oh, no. I was just checking how he's shooting the... Oh, look, I like archery. Okay, I enjoy it. Senior Jessica for 199 says, should have brought the Keyblade to dam the river. That's just its magical function. Yeah, there's the device. The scary-looking device. I wonder if it's here that they show how it's going to work. Because they're like, oh, no, what's going to happen? That's a problem. The orcs aren't really trying to, have shields to protect from the arrow fire, but there's a lot of orcs. Look, there's a question, but the question gets answered later on, and the reasoning is just so contrived. The question is, why is she on the battlements at the front of the, she's not an archer, she's not a warrior, she's not a leader. What is she doing there? She should be in some type of bunker protective area for where all the women and children are hiding during this deadly, devastating siege that is leveling most of the city. But she's just waltzing on up there. The reason for them putting her there, like I said, it's actually funny. Wait for it, guys. But again, it's one of those moments where I want you guys to try and think of the reason. Why do you think they have her up on the front line battlements of the city, essentially doing nothing? Zen Zoltan for 500 ARS. Continuing Senior Jessica, this show had keyblades. Well, it was a blade that functioned as a key. It wasn't like a key blade from here. Didn't know this was a Disney product also. Honestly, I wouldn't find it weird with how much disrespect they gave to Tolkien. Hail Shad, thank you very much. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be very hard for me to be surprised by anything. Actually, no, that's wrong. Because I'm constantly surprised at how stupid it continues to be. It's like that whole, artillery shelling the mountain. Look, yes, that surprised me. I couldn't have thought of something so dumb. How far will they go? We are harboring for $2 says she has ovaries, Shad. That qualifies her. Okay. So some of the chat out there. All right. We got some speculation as to why she's up there. This might actually handing out water. This could have been a good answer, but no, that is not the reason why she's there. Girl boss, that's why. It's actually not that. The answer's even more funny. Is she gonna open the gate? No, All these reasons are more logical. No, you got to think. This is Rings of Power. You've got to go far more stupid than that. Okay, think about something that is really contrived. Okay, that they didn't have the talent or writing capacity to achieve what they want, so they need to achieve it by something illogical and dumb happening, like her being up on the wall. Someone's got to cook for the soldiers. Look, even that would make more sense. No. Okay. Don't like Rings of Power. Don't be a retard. It's like you gotta push yourself into the mindset of stupidity to try and figure it out. Is she up there for emotional damage? No. Okay. I think we've put a highlight on that enough to prepare us well for when it is revealed as to the reason why the writers have put her on that wall for no reason. They don't actually, well, there is a reason, but they don't actually, yeah, you'll see. Justin Martins for $10 say, maybe if you blokes down under could start rolling your R's more, you could acclimate the emus to your Amazon speech, then just a little push in the right direction, we can end this nonsense once and for all. Those emus. They're the bane of my existence. Senior Judge Jessica for 199 says, is there a tempest in her? I literally thought of that scene, like Galadriel's face, which is, there is a tempest in me. It's just like, they want epicness, yet they don't have the talent to achieve it, and so they force it. And that was a good example. Like, there is a tempest in me. Like, it was so jarring, that line, right? There's another moment like that in this episode where they want an epic moment, yet they don't have the talent to achieve it. And so they just kind of push through, and it comes off so weak and forced. And all right, so we've seen her up there. And then she's like, oh, the machine. Remember that machine I was pointing out? We must stop that machine. All right. This is the machine. Another test for you to chat, because it's actually it's a lot of fun, hanging out, interacting with you guys. How do you think this machine is going to take down the wall? That's its purpose. Okay. Now remember, this is Rings of Power. So the answer is genuinely stupid. I want to see if you could put your mind into the stupidity of the show to figure out, how do you think this will take down the wall? Listen for $2 says, will Elf Guy show up with Ents to release the river? No, but Elf Guy does show up. Okay. Are they ripping off Helm's Deep now? Yes and no. Not in a good way. They want it to kind of be like Helm's Deep. It's a siege, but there's nothing even comes close to the awesomeness of Helm's Deep. Well, so remember asking how this thing, like, logic would say, what, it looks like a bit like a battering ram. I'm surely they will use it as a battering ram to knock down the wall. But Digger Black, you're right. It's not by hitting it, right? It's so you're in the right. You're going in the right direction. Like, if you're understanding the stupidity of this show, it's not going to be the logical thing. And so the normal logical thing is that this is a battering ram. No, it's not a battering ram. That would be the normal logical thing you would use to take down a wall. They want to be different. They want to be clever, right? And so, so Colin Stewart, you say they'll do. Did you watch the episode? Though? Pull, but how would they pull the wall down? That device doesn't look like it could pull, does it? Sing in metal. I don't actually. That is something dumb enough they could do in this show. They have the Dwarven women singers. They've got slave ones, captured ones. Get them to sing down the wall. It's gonna blow up. No, that would actually make more sense than what they choose to do. Okay. To mine the wall, so to speak. No. Will they write a stern letter? No, it's not that. It kind of looks like it does kinda, but it's not a battering ram. Okay. So Some of you go pull one rock off the wall. How would this device pull things? Well, we'll get there. We'll just wait for it. See you to Jessica for 199 says machine looks down and makes the wall sink. Looks down at them. I see what you did there, sir. Lilu for $2 says finally Sauron's side. Wait. I don't spoilers. All right. But we'll get there. We will get there. That it made me laugh. All right. How will this thing do it? Okay. We spent a lot of time just highlighting it. Like, oh no, this is bad. They might not show it in this scene, but it's foreshadowing. Okay. The show is devoting a lot of time to how intimidating this scary mechanism is. And so that sets up an expectation. Oh, gee, I wonder what this will do. How will this be such a threat? We got two big kind of foreshadowing moments in this stream that I'm looking forward to the reveal. Okay. Why was she on the wall? How will the siege engine take down the wall? All right. So we're going on a journey together, chat. It's going to be great. All right. So Celebrimbor is concerned because he's starting to realize things aren't right. The candle isn't going down. The mouse isn't, going around. And he's starting to realize that is in a bit of an illusion. Okay. The candles, they're not burning. They haven't burned an inch all day. They have not burned an inch all day. And then he's like, yes, he's confronting him. What have you done to me? So this is the reveal. It basically says like, you're him, aren't you? You're Sauron. And he throws the hammer at Sauron, and that kind of breaks the illusion. Mages Guild $5. My question, why was this needed when they have such powerful explosives? Orc power levels dropped off a cliff between scenes. Right? It's a good question. If they could take down the side of a mountain with their trebuchets, why can't they take down a wall with it? Right? This show is dumb. Hey. So yes, he's gonna throw the hammer at him. It breaks the window. Yep, he dodges the hammer, and then Brimbor goes out and he sees what's happening. It's like, oh my gosh! And not only that, okay. He looks back in. Sauron's not there anymore. And then he goes and has a look. And look at his workshop, guys. This has been going on around him. Look at the friggin' rubble and stuff. Like massive pillars have fallen down. It's like he could have been crushed or killed at any moment. Now, remember, the siege that is going on, because if Brimbor dies, Sauron's plans are stuffed, okay? But the siege is here because of Sauron. Sauron manipulated Adar to come here. And this is one of the, it's another question that gets answered, remember, though, as to, man, I kind of like these foreshadowing questions because we've got another one, guys. And I'd like to see what you think it is. Why do you think Sauron wanted the siege to come here? So now we've got three. Why was the girl on the wall? How will that machine take down the wall? And why did Sauron want Adar to besiege Eregion? What do you guys think? And remember, this is Rings of Power logic. So never think of something smart or clever to explain these things. Senior Justica for $1 says, does the machine use flammable Numenorian wine? They basically have napalm. Like some of their explosives, like actually, there is an explosion in this episode where I was like, holy crap, did I have TNT in that thing? Wait for it. We got a lot to get through, guys. I'm going to need your help because, it's going to be a long one, but we're here for it. All right, so Brimbor could have easily died at any moment. This is why it's so dumb. Sauron manipulating this siege to happen is retarded. It is so stupid. It is this, war and battle that is potentially ruining your entire plan. And really, it should have. Like, so many times, something could have happened that ruined everything. From him needing to keep Celebrimbor under an illusion during this time, from the orcs actually getting through too soon before the rings are completed, to Celebrimbor getting hit by a stray and dying. And by the way, it almost, like in this episode, the rings almost don't get made because Brimbor does break through the illusion. This is what Sauron, he organized the siege to happen, you idiot, right? And so he actually manipulated this to happen, the very thing that is nearly ruining everything, you moron. And they do have a reason why he did it, and they reveal it in this episode, and it is unbelievably dumb. And so some of you have some predictions, like Piston says, was it a family reunion with the orcs? No. I'm trying to think. It might be dumber than that, actually. Did she want to let the orc go to the wall? To make Brimbor love him. That's why he got the army to besiege Eregion. That could be tangential reasons, but no. Guys, you got to think more stupid. Got to think stupider to figure out Sauron's logic here, because this isn't normal people logic. This is Rings of Power logic. Okay. As we see, Brimbor just got, like, again, that rubble, man. Massive rocks just falling down. See, Justica for 499 says, Sauron wants to impress Galadriel. Look, I can destroy stuff too. I'm as awful a person as you, Galadriel. We're just like peas in a pod, aren't we? Yeah, we're just so well suited. So Brimbor, he starts freaking out, right? And you'd think he now knows. Like, this is Sauron. He even discovered in this scene that the mithril he was putting into the rings was Sauron's own blood. Okay? This is, second in command to Morgoth. This is like one of the most evil beings. It's basically the devil of this world, okay? And you've just been making rings of power for him. I think one of the main things you're doing would be to confront him, grab the rings, get out of there. But he just leaves the rings, okay? Because, this is where he discovers, like, it's the blood. He's like, what is this? And Sauron's like, it's me. It's my blood. Sauron Jesus. Right? And so Celebrimbor, he's starting to freak out. And then he just like, all right, I'm leaving. I'll just leave the rings. Leave the rings that are almost completed with Sauron. But I guess they're not completed enough because Sauron, he's like, no. I need you to finish them, Brimbor. You're going to work with me. How do you think is going to force Brimbor to finish the rings? so dumb. I know the answer, but that's why I'm laughing. UP shoot for €5 or pounds. I'm an idiot. Why not trying? I'm not trying to think any why and how. I'm just here to watch your brain melt down to show it in slow motion like Bart Simpson's Ralph's Art. Oh, well, I appreciate you joining me. And my brain will melt. We are harboring for $50. Wasn't mithril incorruptible? Their logic, right? But I think what they're showing is that it doesn't need mithril. He could use his blood now to make the rings. He's discovering more of the craft. This is how he's going to make the one ring, guys. Lots of his blood. He's going to pour, it's supposed to be his hate and malice or whatever, evil into the ring. But now it's going to be pouring lots of his blood into the one ring. That's how he's going to make it. Okay, so yeah, people asking, is it mind control? Will he use mind control to force Brimbor to finish off the rings now that Brimbor knows it's Sauron? That would make more sense, but no. he has mind control powers. He could, literally, he could have used that, but I guess Brimbor is broken free. Will he use a love? No, it's not a love potion. Exactly. You got to think stupid, guys. You got to think stupid to figure this out. The Honored King. I think you get the well. There's more to it than just this. Make the rings or your city is done. There's more to it than that. But you basically got it. And that does answer one of the questions as to why he got organized the scene. But we'll wait until it's revealed in the episode, and I'll elaborate a bit more on that. Senior Jessica 499 says, Brimbor, I won't finish the ring, Sauron, but what if you did? Yeah, I won't. Brimbor, sorry. I now know the flow of the chat. Let me start again. Brimbor, I won't finish the rings. Sauron replies, but what if you did? Brimbor, you son of a... I'm in. I'm laughing because it's not that far from what happens. Hey, Willimatihara Shabadaboo, thank you for the $1 donation. Appreciate you. So anyway, Brimbor's like, oh, you're so bad, I'm out of here. And then he like walks out and the siege is happening. Big bad things are happening. And he almost dies. Like here, right? Sauron, you organize this. You organize the siege to happen. Look at this. And that's him. He's just got yeeted from a stray. Okay. It's like, the show wants us to think that Sauron is this master manipulator, right? And yet his master plan is to destroy his main plan is to make the rings, and yet he organized the orcs to come and besiege the city, which nearly destroys. In no world would he do that. The reason why is not because he actually needed this army here. Like, this army is nearly ruins his plans. Okay, the reason why the army is here is because the writers wanted an action, battle. The writers wanted a battle. And I think the Siege of Eregion is an event that happens in the Silmarillion. Correct me, chat, the lore masters in the chat, if I'm wrong with that. But they couldn't think of a good reason. How will they get this? Sauron will manipulate Adar to attack him by saying, I'm here. You want to kill me? Come, or kill Sauron, because he was Halbrand at the time. Go get him. He's over there. There's hundreds of logical reasons to justify the battle, but that's the reason that we need a battle. We'll have Sauron force it to happen. That's why the siege. That's every other reason is ruining his plans, but he has a reason, as we'll get there, and it's amazingly dumb. W85 for $10 said, spoiler, season 3 opener, Adar reveals himself as Morgoth. You didn't think catapults could just bring a mountain down, did you? I would actually kind of explain it. Is a Morgoth using incredible powers. Chris Walker for $5 says, Writer 1, shouldn't the answer to our problems with the script be dragons? Writer 2, not yet. And I don't know what the last one is, but still, thank you for the chat. I appreciate you. All right, so he almost gets yeeted. Watch this. He's like, oh, terrible. Oh, my people. And then kaboom. Boosh! And that's him. He just like, all right, so he should basically be dead. But good plan, Sauron. That's not going to prevent you from making the rings at all. And it would be really, 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 really dumb if you brought the army here to ensure your ability to make the rings, because how could any logic make like the city under attack that potentially killed the person that can make the rings? In what world would that help you force him to make the rings? Because that would be really dumb. Okay, so Brimbor nearly dies. He gets up and he's gonna go look for someone. Senior John Jessica for $9.99 says, Sauron, this is all part of my plan. Adar randomly choosing to attack, Brimbor breaking from my mind control only to be coerced by Adar's siege. Not luck, genius. But Senior John Jessica, I'm not sure if you've seen the episode. Unironic, that's it. That's actually it. This is the reason why Sauron manipulated Adar to besiege the city was to use it as leverage to force Brimbor to finish the rings, which he only needs the leverage to force Brimbor to finish the rings because the city is under siege, and Brimbor doesn't want to finish the rings now because the city is under attack. So the only reason you need the only reason you need the army and besieging is to solve the problem of the army besieging the city. You friggin' moron! But that's it. That is the reason. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm actively losing brain cells. Yeah. Let me repeat that. Okay. He uses the army to force Brimbor to finish the rings because Brimbor doesn't want to finish the rings because the army is there and attacking. 100 million brain cells just evaporated. Poof. Create problem, solve problem, profit, but there's no actual profit. It almost ruins everything. Oh, we are harbinger for $5 says, I'm not sure driving your craftsman insane would improve their work either. You're right. And he only needs to use the illusion and driving him insane because the army that he lured there is attacking. If he didn't do it, he wouldn't have these problems. This all seems unnecessary, much like Helen Brimbor in this show. Yeah. It's 5D chess, guys. Master plan. Wait. There it is. Master plan all along. 1000 IQ. I love you guys. So, all right. We're about to get an answer to another question. And this is funny. This is great. Okay. Brimbor. He needs someone's help. It's like, who is his most trusted kind of person that he can seek for help? I mean, you'd think it would be like maybe the mayor of the city, the head of the guard. Is there a commander in charge of the fighting? But no, I the most important person he needs to seek help with is his apprentice Smith. You know, the girl? You know, he needs her. So he's going to go seek her out because she has she doesn't have an important role in the city. She was an apprentice Smith. But apparently, I guess she does, even though they've never shown her having it, because that's the person he needs to find. Now, remember where she was. Where was she? That's right. She was on the wall. No good reason why she was there on the wall. But we're soon to find out why the writers have, in a very contrived way, made her be on the wall. Well, Brimbor he now needs to go seek her out. All right. And where will he see? Well, if she's on the wall and is seeking her out, he needs to go to the wall. Kind of. It's so logical. Do you see the pattern of logic in this? PL Hammerhand for 25 PLN. This show is literally written by an alien that knows nothing about human society. They don't even know cause and effect, man. They, like, common sense. So Brimbor is getting up, and like when watching this, right, the first time, and when he was on the wall, I remember actually I was like, what? Why would he go to one of the most dangerous places in the city? Like, you could get astray from an arrow really, really easily. This is not a good spot. Okay. But is on the wall, and the reason is because she's on the wall. And then I'm thinking, like, because when I was watching this first time too, I didn't know the reason. It gets answered, but when before seeing why, I was really wondering, like, this is a really bad spot to be in. And she's not helping fight. She's not a warrior. She's not a commander. And I was just like, why the hell is she there? She's hanging out over in a vulnerable thing, right? This is also like, there's a gap in the wall here, and she's leaning out over it to look. That's on purpose. The show did that intentionally. I mean, it's pretty dumb. It's really dangerous. You know, if you start to understand that this is dangerous, you might start to see the answer of why she's there. Okay. So he tries to tell her that he's Sauron. She doesn't believe him because he sounds crazy. But again, right? The only way they can explain it is because everyone's under Sauron's manipulation and control, and they've lost their brains and they can't think logically. Because if someone, even if he's been a bit unstable, but you've known him for years, you trust him, he's your master, he's taught you a lot of things, right? And he comes out looking like this, saying Sauron has been keeping me in the tower, right? You probably think like, okay. And you don't know who the Sauron, Anatar is. And you get told that this guy that came out of nowhere is, Sauron. Anatar is Sauron. That would be a bit more alarming, but she just thinks it's crazy. It's like, I don't know, you're just silly. Oh, and we're getting multiple answers. We're getting multiple answers coming up, guys. Liam Dove for $5 says, remember, none of this would have happened if Galadriel had told Brimbor and Elrond who Halbrand was as soon as she found out in season 1. Yeah, 100%. They give it the super chat. You're absolutely right. Like, it's all Galadriel's fault. She made Sauron evil. She's the worst. I've talked about this on now the streams. Like that is unfathomable that she did that. Okay, so she doesn't believe Brimbor, but we're gonna see something. There's banging down below, and remember that device? Let's get a close up. It's like, do you see? It's actually a bit of like a reverse ballista. There are limbs here, like a crossbow, right here, and then you got this big log thing. And they are hammering something into the wall. All right. Big old spikes, metal nails. So, guys, how do you think this is going to work? I'll let you think about it. Like, what would happen? So one, smashing really big chunks of metal like this into a stone wall, you're going to need a lot more than a single guy and a hammer or a single orc and a hammer, because that's going to take all day to lodge that. But they can just do it. They can just hammer this into the wall. All right. If they gave it a really, really powerful yank, what do you think would naturally happen? Yeah. Right. What? No, freaking. I love you guys. I just started like, they can't be this dumb. Surely not. It's like, I got this. No, really. Or if they would just pull it out. They would just pull the nail out. It's not going to take the wall with it. But that's what they show. By hammering a smooth shaft of metal into stone and giving a yank, it yanks off a massive chunk of the wall. And they don't show it has like, yeah, you can already see it. You're right. The spikes would just be pulled out. And it doesn't look like the spikes have any jagged kind of, thing to latch onto anything. And even if it did, if you have like a jagged thing like this, it's going in, it still has to separate the stone to fit in. And it's stone. It's not like flesh that would close over like an arrow going, a barbed arrow going into flesh, and then the flesh, and you pull it out and the barbs get caught, right? It's not going to work like that, even if it had barbs, because it's stone. It'll just be pulled out of the hole that you made to fit it in. Oh my gosh. But no, like when they pull it out, the wall basically explodes in a localized area. This show is, it's giving me brain damage. I know, this has so many. They thought a battering ram was just too. Like, no, we can't do that. A battering ram, that's just too plain. We need something special. What shall we do to make something special for our season? And they then think of one of the dumbest possible things. Everyone's like, yeah, you're right. It'll just pull out. It'll just pull out. Oh, but that's it. That's it. So you're not just looking for one note. It says they're gonna pull the city to Mordor. Yeah, I know. It's not even an anchor. It's not anchored to anything. They think, are there barbs that open up? They didn't show it. This looks like just a solid hunk of metal. Look, right there. Just a solid chunk of metal. Oh, gosh. And if they had pre-built barbs in, as I explained, they have to open up a hole to fit the barbs in. It's stone. It's not going to close over the barbs. And so, no. We are harboring for $2. Clearly, it's just magic orc nails. More lost tech. See, just for 199 says, "Oh my gosh, it's fantasy, Shad. Turn off your brain." No, that's insulting. And any show that you need to turn off your brain to watch is that literally means it was made for idiots. Think about it. When you're not using your brain, that's kind of the definition of idiot. And if the show relies on people to not use their brains to watch, it was made for idiots by definition. And so don't do it. Don't let them think you're an idiot, and don't behave like an idiot either. And don't give them like that, thing. Now, sometimes your brain doesn't turn on, and you just can go with the flow. But still, this is a new level. PL Hammerhand for 25 says, "No, nails wouldn't be pulled out. The whole thing would move backwards just to stop, just to stop on the wall, right?" So there's the answer. See, Jessica 199. I saw rings and I clapped. That's the audience that they want. That's what it was made for. So we got the answer to one of those questions. That's how the device pulls down a wall by just having nails in. And have you ever seen like people hammer something into stone? Because you can see, you can go online, and it's some quarrying techniques, and they're hammering metal things into stone. It takes so much force and time to pull it in, right? It doesn't create a tight fit. The thing that's going in the stone actually ends up being a bit loose. And it can be just pulled out. Like when you hammer something like this into stone, it's not a tight fit. It usually just can be slid in and out when you do it. But anyway, they just I don't think about it. This is just how it works. This is, and man, I can see how far that went in with one hit. This isn't made out of stone at all. It's made out of balsa wood or foam. Like, look at these things just get hammered in. Bang! Oh my gosh. And so super, super strong orcs. Brimbo's like, "This is the thinnest part of the wall. We're in so much danger." Gosh, not. It's like made out of foam. How easy that's going in. And they're really clever. They're working the machine. They're gonna pull it back. They got the nails in, and it's like, that device, brace the foundations. It's gonna something bad is going to happen. But before they can, guess who appears? Sauron's back. And we'll get to see what happens to the wall later on. Piston for $2 says, "You missed one of my favorite super chats, Shad. Are you okay? Did I miss it? Dude, I'm sorry. I'm trying to grab the super chats as they come. My apologies, Sir Piston. Well, it must have been pretty far back because it's probably long gone, but I thought I grabbed it all. I do my best. That's the unfortunate risk of super chats. Sometimes one might slide under the radar. Maybe towards the end I'll jump on. There's a part on the YouTube backend that shows you all super chats, and maybe I'll try and just dig it out there. Might take me a minute though. And I don't know how long this stream is going to go, because have we been going for an hour and a half already? Holy crap! We're not even a quarter into the episode. I told you this is going to be a long one. Oh, we're only 22 minutes in. William Doll, yeah, says I know. So we're already about an hour and a half into the stream. I told you, like the battle episode, I was afraid of this. I said this is probably going to break me, and it's worst episode yet. There's so much crap to. Oh wow. Senior Justica for 999 says, Glug, even if we besieged a region, it would take a force beyond reckoning to pull down the wall. At least 3 nails, tens of nails. Glug, my lord, there is no such siege engine. I see what you did in there, Senior Justica. Well done. Critical Orc Theory for $2 says, Orc made wall 10 foot shorter. And We Are Harbringer for $2 says, be right back. I'm going to put a pizza in the oven. Hope you enjoy. Okay. So Brimbor freaks out, sees him because it's Sauron. And she's like, nah, he's a good guy. We're about to get it. We're about to get the answer. Remember the question? Why was she there on the wall? Are you ready? This is it. This is why she's there. I might even check on the sound for this part. Okay. And so no one's believing him. He's like, here's Sauron. And so she reaches forward to help him. I need to brace myself. Okay, ready? So he's like, get your hands off me! Oh my gosh. So the reason why I'm laughing is that's why she was on the wall. So she could die. They needed a reason for her. She needed to be on a high place to fall from to die. And so she had no good reason being on the wall. They're like, she's there because that's like, it's a really like, did I mention it's pretty dangerous to be up there? She's literally standing in the break in the barrier that you could fall over. But that's it. The reason why she's being so stupid and putting herself in such a vulnerable position so she could die. It's just purely for a contrivance in the plot. That is it. That's why she was on the wall. Because they couldn't think of any smart, logical way for her to accidentally die by the power manipulation of Sauron. Okay. In any other way. So they decide to just do something really dumb and have this woman who's not a warrior, not a general, not an in command, or anything like that, standing right in one of the most vulnerable, dangerous positions during a friggin' battle, right? And it's all for that. Senior Justica for 199. So I said, what? Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. Critical Orc Theory, $50. Eat the cats, eat the dogs, eat the halflings. Yeah, and she just gets yeeted. And so this is the thing, right? They try to make this as being a serious, sad moment when it's built on a foundation of such stupidity. There's no way to be invested in it. She was a nothing character, no actual development, not much of a personality. She was there just, being worried about Celebrimbor constantly. And so they don't earn any emotional investment in caring about her death. And then because her death was caused by such contrived nonsense, it's comical. And that's a splash. They also feel that's kind of like showing her like fall in that kind of way. It looked like one of those comedy things where someone's like fall. It's like they made it look comical. Oh my gosh. So We Are Harbringer, $5 says, I did say she was there to die, but elves would not buy that. They have super eyes. Very nice of the orcs to never shoot her, and her blonde hair would make her stand out. You're right. Thank you for the super chat. So that was from We Are Harbringer, and Senior Jessica for 199 says, she just liked orc watching. She was there. She was in a bit of bird watching as well. Great pause on Primpor's face. right there. I need a screenshot that one. That's a thumbnail face. She shouldn't have been on the wall, not even close. But it's like, oh, we needed her. We needed her to die, and so she's just going to be there for no explained reason. Oh my gosh. So the hidden beef at 23, $5 says, so let's create a fake female character, make her bossy, and then kill her off. I mean, come on, it works. This is Chunk, right? And like that's the whole point of her character, was to just get killed off. And, you know, killing off characters can be a legitimate way to motivate things. And so the whole like fridging bad is a nonsense writing technique. It's just like, no. Characters can die to motivate characters. It's the whole foundation for Spider-Man and Uncle Ben's death. He was technically fridged, but no one mentions that because fridging has only happened when it's a female character. And so they'll probably say, oh, she was fridged. But this is usually from people who usually complain about fridging are usually people ascribed to woke ideology, because fridging is when a female character is killed off just to motivate the male characters. Well, I was like, oh, these guys... they're not being very progressive then, because that comes. See, the character was only there to die. That was her point. And it wasn't like a meaningful death. It wasn't like Uncle Ben or anything. It was pointless, and you felt nothing. Liam Dell, she got fridged, technically. Yeah, according to their definition. Sarah Gould for $10. I'm late, so I'm rewinding to the beginning. But really, this isn't an episodic show. It's one long narrative, each episode building on the last. How could each not be the worst yet? That is a very good point. Very well said, Sarah Gould. Thank you for the super chat. Zed Zoltan for 500 ARS. Writers, should we give her a respectful death? Kelly Brimbor. Yeet. Yeah, it's like a yeet. It's like a yeet. Like just watch it. This is such a, and the scream makes it hilarious. So let's watch it again. It's like that can be used for a meme. Like, you know, when someone is trying to propose something that you just reject wholesale and you want to cast it into the fire, you put like whatever that thing is on her face. That's the meme. That's just like my response to Rings of Power. Rings of Power on her face. Yeet off or get your hands off me. Like, it's a perfect template. That's why it's funny. Oh my gosh. Critical Orc Theory. Gravity stole my kill. $2. Thank you. Oh, wow. And then she's lying on the ground, you know, dead. Even that, like, well, they tried to make it funny. And then they have his face. It's golden age for content creators indeed. Oh. They made it stupid like that for the memes. I don't know, but that might be the only, you know, fun thing that comes out of this is the memes that'll be mocking it. Yep. And thus a meme was born. And thus a meme was born. Yeet. Yeah. Gary will use the scene for sure. I hope he does. I hope he does. Oh my gosh. So she's lying on the ground. And like, they're not helping it, right? Because they're just like this Mangly Orc just comes in. I'm gonna kill you now. And thus died the pointless character. She will not be missed because we didn't care about the character. We are harboring a $5 says improvement. Instead of yeet, she takes an arrow for Brimbor that gives her at least one character trait. That fall was funny. Graceful elves. See, Juska 499. Sauron. Brimbor killing what's her face was also part of my plan. And well, that's the thing. He like used either telekinesis or mind control then. Because he like they show his hand like twitch and the sound like where he's using magic to cause him to kill her. And so like what can he do with his magic? Because that's like telekinesis, mind control. I think it might be the mind control, but that means he can mind control Brimbor, which means he doesn't need to ask Brimbor to finish the rings. He can just use mind control, but he forgets about that then because they can't be consistent with their power scaling because they're incompetent. They've shown that. Where a competent writer would pay attention. It's like, oh, he can do this with the magic. Let's remember that. And then a smart, tactical, evil person like Sauron, you'd think he would be willing to use that magic whenever it would help him out and be useful, instead of just arbitrarily forgetting about it. And well, she's gone. And here we get the answer. This is why he brought the army. All this can end. There's the reveal. I know I've already explained that's it, right? But that's the reveal in the episode where it happens. And Brimbor also said it to the girl before she died as well. That, he's going to blackmail. He is blackmailing Brimbor to finish the rings to save the city being destroyed. But the only reason he wants to not make the rings at this point is because the city getting besieged, which is caused by... Oh, the smart people. It's a smart show, guys. Really, it's top tier. But that's where it's revealed. Gene the Machine for $10 says, cast her off the wall. Just destroy her. Cast it into the fire. Oh, wow. I shouldn't be surprised yet. I still am. I was last stream. I was wondering what could be the logic. Why would Sauron bring this army here that could potentially ruin all of his plans? And the show, unironically, has it that he's using it as blackmail. I will save the city if you finish the rings. It's like, what if that siege destroyed everything? Like, it's almost ruined your plan. Sauron is one of the dumbest idiots ever written. Yeah. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing show. Oh my gosh. There we are. All right. Time to continue. So Brimbor basically he now knows Sauron wants to make these rings, and he knows how powerful the rings are. The rings are they're like doomsday weapons. They're rings of power. They're the most powerful items ever created. Okay, and he knows that these are now made by Sauron. They're essentially doomsday weapons, and is like, oh, save the city and make items that could destroy the world. Is he kind of weighing up the actual stakes there? And what's funny is later in the episode, he does like, oh no, I'm not, I can't give him the rings. That would be terrible. Why does it take him so long to get there? And that people say, oh, he's under the manipulation of Sauron. It's funny how it's so convenient in the plot. That he can defy Sauron arbitrarily when they want the so it's nonsense. Okay, is he either Sauron can control his mind or he can't? Okay, because if he can control his mind, like he just made Brimbor to yeet lady off the thing, he doesn't need to even manipulate or coerce him with a besieging to finish the rings. He just mind control him to do it. And if he isn't under mind control, then, which would explain why Sauron can't just mind control him to make the rings, why is he even entertaining this proposition to make the rings? It's because he's an idiot. It's because the writing is stupid. Because anyone with half a brain would think, no, I can't I can't trade the lives of the people of this city for the fate of the world. because he now knows that is what is at stake in making these rings for Sauron. But he decides, like, no, that's the exchange. Yep, I gotta make the rings, and I'll give you these horrible doomsday weapons. I just saw what I have next. A horn the horn blows. Maybe you need to hear it. Horn blows. Why would that kind of cause me to stop for a second? Okay, and it's revealed why the elves have arrived. So the orcs are like, they're in the middle of this, siege, assailing the walls, and they hear this horn, which is very helpful. I mean, this horn is announcing to them, by the way, evil orc army attacking the city, that you do not know where we're at. We have this huge, contingent of cavalry that you haven't noticed, that we could just run in and hit you when you're not even paying attention, hit you in the rear, wipe out so many of you guys. But that's just unsportsmanly. No, we need to let you know we are here. And not only that, we need to wait and let you form ranks of defense. We need to let you, retreat into the woods, which would give you heaps of cover and would be screwed. But because they know, they can read the future, they know the orcs are going to be so dumb that they will conveniently arrange themselves in front of them. Even though they're still more vulnerable, arranging themselves on this big, vast, open battlefield that we'll see in a second, right? And that is a worse position than taking the cover of the trees, okay? It's a better position than where they are currently, which is not even knowing where they are. And so it's funny that it screws over the elves by announcing, by the way, we're here, because the elves could have just charged them, hit them in the rear, wiped out so many. And by the way, they share in the episode, the elves are still outnumbered 10-1. And so hitting them in the rear might have been a really good choice before they can, rally their numbers. Okay. But the elves decide to screw themselves over by alerting where they are. And then the orcs decide to be stupid and not taking full advantage, and then just assembling in front of the elves. Still better than where they currently are at the city, but nowhere near as good as if they use the forest to their advantage to nullify the charge of the cavalry. So you can just for 199, absolutely nobody invested in army intel, right? Because they're just like, we're here. Look, just for good measure. And I just wanted, like, what's the logic here? Who's writing this? Why did they think, like, that's just what people do when they arrive in a battle? They're going to announce it to the enemy. Iron Garrison for $2 says they just tried to copy the movies. All right. Like, isn't that what cool armies do in cool movies? They sound a horn when they, like, if it's a logical movie, right? The sounding of the horn wouldn't be to announce your arrival on a battlefield, ruining your, element of surprise. It would be to perhaps announce the beginning march to begin the confrontation. So an army so big where it's really hard for your voice to carry, you need a horn to then signal certain actions to be taken by the army. See, that's the logic. That's why you might need a horn, right? But they don't understand how battles work. This is not written by smart people. They just think, oh, horns. That's what you do. Well, that's what people do when an army arrives, right? But no. We are harboring for $2 says that's some bad horse. I know the armor looks terrible. Look how cheap this weird cloth thing is. And we get some close-ups. So then it's like, oh, they have a sizable amount of cavalry. If they just like charge the orcs in the flanks, they could have done some serious damage. Even though they're outnumbered 10-1, doesn't look like it because there are so many. I need to check that. So many cavalry there. All right. And then the orcs, they're just like, Let's all just line up for them. Easy tuck. That entire forest where they were hanging out in, but they're just going to all line up. And by the way, do these guys look like they're afraid to die here? It's a question. Because they don't. I seem pretty keen. Because it's just funny, because later in the episode, they get really bent out of shape that Adar wants to send the orcs to fight elves. When right here, they are keen as mustard. They are so keen that they are going to just line up for the elves like free targets. And they're cheering. They're happy. We're ready to fight. We're ready to get you elves. But later on, when Adar wants to fight, they're like, that's mean, Adar. Why are you causing us to fight? Contradictory nonsense. It's just the terrible writing in this show. So, do you think that there's going to be this is going to be a big battle? This is a setup to a big clash, right? You would think so. You'd think surely they wouldn't devote all this time and build up to blue ball you and not have a cool battle afterwards. Well, that's exactly what they do. They're just this all leads nowhere. I see you just asking for 199 says, orcs want peace, not man flesh. But yeah, that's where they're at with it. It's but not here. The orcs they're all keen to fight. And they even show how big this is. There they are. There they are. We are Harbinger for $2 says, rah, I love my orc family. Let's go. Look at it. They're just this is one of the dumbest ways to face a cavalry charge. It's you don't have spears, you don't have pikes, you don't have a pike wall or anything like that. You're not making shield trees. You're literally lining up as a free target, and you don't have shields or anything. And look, there's a forest right there. But they're just look, and they are so they don't have a problem with dying at all right here. But later on, and look at this charge. There's so many cavalry here, right? That's just ready to mow them down. So what do you think stops the charge? Because I told you that it stops. And this is all a blue ball. It's leading up to nothing. It's all this time. And look, there's a lot of energy and effort. And they want to make, isn't this cool? Look, we're going, guys. We're going. We're going to have a big fight. We're charging. You ready to fight? No. Sorry. It's not going to happen. Is it the river that stops? Is it the river that stops them? No, it's not that. The armor, man. Look, I might need to go back because there was some close-ups of the armor. And it's funny on Twitter. I don't think there's an image that I tweet. So go follow me on Twitter if you guys if you want to follow, where I just I say random things, observations. But there was a image from this episode showing Gil-galad in his armor, and he's got one of the worst looking swords. It's bulbous. It's not a sword meant for close-ups. It's clearly a rubber prop. And just do they not are they not using realer looking swords for close-up shots like they did in House of the Dragon? House of the Dragon says this array, and they have multiple models of the one sword. One's for combat, one's for close-ups. Well, we get a close-up. And someone actually said that's actually a promotional shot Shad just made on set. It wasn't. That's not how they look in the episode, right? And guess what they have in this episode? Oh, it's a bit right. This is it. This is that exact image that I was criticizing. It is one of the main close-up shots, and look what's happening here. This sword, look how thick the sword is. Look how thick the scabbard is. This is a rubber prop. It looks like a LARP sword. Okay. Several $1 million budget. The armor looks like plastic or foam. It looks like trash. See, Jessica, thinking dumb. They just decided to stop. It looks so cheap. And the sword isn't even fitted in the scabbard right. It's gripping it. Who's paying attention to this stuff? It makes it look cheap. This sword isn't even sitting in the thing. But several $1 million film, And it's not like a shot that they just, took for behind the scenes while he wasn't posing for the camera. No, this is 100% real right there. It's like, whatever. Like, didn't they spend like nearly 60 million per episode or something? It's something crazy. I don't know the exact amount. Looks horrible. But still, remember, they're trying to build. Look at that. This is a massive cavalry regiment. Just watched it horribly. Yeah, this is worst episode, man. We're not even halfway through. Oof. I might need a speed run the rest. I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling. Oh yeah, we'll get through it somehow. So they're charging. Big old charge. But I told you they blue ball you. What's going to stop the charge, you wonder? What is going to stop it? And it's Galadriel. It's like, we've got someone in a cage, which you probably wouldn't even, like, the cavalry probably wouldn't even be able to see him from this distance. Okay. But they're just, and by the way, it's like, they threaten, they hold a knife to her throat. They're like, if you charge us with those horses, we'll kill Galadriel. And I mean, we just don't want you to realize that the easiest way to save her life is to just hit them in the charge, and they wouldn't have time to kill her because they'd be dealing with a lance in their throat and just ride around her. It's not like she's blocking the entire, battlefield. But the show, like, no, that's enough. Elrond sees her and is like, nah, the poked her. Well, we just got to stop this massive thing. They're kind of out in the open. It's not as out in the open as they were when they're attacking the city, but they're still a good target for a cavalry charge, right? But Galadriel's there, and the entire, they just like, all right, guess we can't do it, guys. All that for nothing. Yes. We are harboring for $2. They have Galadriel, keep charging. Don't stop. It's our chance. Finally. She's the reason for all of this horror that's happening. I know, right? The stupidity, it's ridiculous. What the hell is this? Funnier than Monty Python. I know, right? She's literally the reason all this happened over and over. It's just, this is Clown World. This show is amazing, but it hurts. I'm in that realm. This hurts, man. This hurts my brain. But anyway, they stop. Dang it. And then Elrond goes without a guard or protection or a detachment of troops. Just goes with one other guy into the orc army to negotiate. And it's so funny. The negotiation hinges on Adar sparing Galadriel's life. And he has Galadriel at his mercy because she's chained up. But she would be at the mercy if she wasn't chained up because she's surrounded by orcs. Kind of the same thing that's happening with Elrond right here. Elrond has just handed himself into it with no guarantee that he'll get out, apart from, Adar's such a noble, honest guy. No, Adar is a scumbag who will genocide entire peoples just to darken the sun to give his orc people a home, right? Adar could easily just say, capture him, we'll get another prisoner, really. So Elrond is being unbelievably dumb here. But the show writer's just like, no, this is. Yeah, now they have 2 hostages. Whoop. But the show is stupid. The writers are stupid. And they're just like, this is fine. Elrond is fine. And I just find it funny that he's literally negotiating based on, like, he says, I'll free Galadriel and is it withdraw, something like that? I forget exactly, but basically it's Galadriel's life that is negotiating with. If you attack, I will kill Galadriel. And it's like, we'll just capture Elrond, and then that problem is kind of solved as well. Then you can, whoever comes next is like, well, now I've got Elrond, I'll kill them if you had. Okay. We have a super chat from Bad Luck Poppy for PLN25. Do you mind calling that shorty with my name something else? I take mental damage every time you say Poppy did this. We'll see. Luckily, Poppy isn't in this episode. Neither are the Half-Foots or Discount Gandalf or Numenor. We don't have to go through any pain with anyone else apart from what's happening here. Which, by the way, I mean, this is technically the most important plot. All the other stuff is just boring filler that they are forcing in because, like, we got to do something with the characters, I suppose. What are we going to do with that? I don't know. We're just, they're wandering in the desert. And so everything else outside of the main plot is irrelevant crap that you have to sit through. At least this is involving the main plot. I can give it that much. And we don't have to put up with anyone else. So anyway, Elrond is like, I can't. Galadriel's going to have to die. Let me say goodbye to her. And so that's them threatening Galadriel. And something happens that I thought came out of nowhere. Okay. What do you think happens when Elrond says goodbye to her, if you haven't seen this episode? Senior John Justica for 190 says, Sauron, I knew that cavalry charge would fail. Like, what guarantee? But he knows it because he read the script, just like he knows that the mountain would fall by hitting with those. Like, in reality, he would have no guarantee the mountain would have fallen. He'd have no guarantee the cavalry charge would have stopped to bring out Galadriel. And so many times he could have just been wiped out completely. And at so many times, Sauron's plan could have just been completely stuffed by manipulating Adar to come here. It's all contrived, nonsensical crap. That's what this show is. So he doesn't give her the ring. No. And so, because I asked, what is he going to do? But some of you figured out, yeah, they give a lovey-dovey kiss. And it's like, they weren't showing romance between these two at all. They were just friends. But he goes on and lays a big one right on her lips, and she's into it. And I can't remember if he sneaks something into her hand here or not, because she does have something that she then picks the lock of her manacles with. So if we look at the hand there, yeah, all right. So she passes something into her hand right then, and that's how she gets the thing that's going to get her out of the lock. So was the kiss just to mask that? But that was a very enthusiastic kiss that really did not seem set up at all. They set up Sauron and her, but not Elrond and her. Hail, Shad in the chat. Hail to you, guinea pig with a family pack. Yeah, it was like, what is going on? And this is another question. Isn't she married? They have not mentioned anything about her husband. Are they going to make Adar her husband? What's his name again? It's escaped me. But he is the, Fellowship of the Ring, Peter Jackson trilogy. You know that guy sitting next to Galadriel? That dude? Yeah, that's her husband. And so just lots of questions about that. I'm not sure if she's his mother-in-law yet, because does she have had her kids? Okay. And Elrond doesn't seem married, so don't know. But yeah, she eventually becomes his mother. Celeborn, thank you. Her husband. Where's him? She's supposed to be married at this point. That's how my brain feels. So, yep, forced romance because reasons. All right. Orcs are snarling in the background, and they just let them out of the city. Oh, sorry, the orc camp. Thank you, Buddy Rabbit, for $2. Yes, it's Celeborn. And they don't have any protectors. They don't have any guards or anything like that. And the orcs like, just going to let And by the way, also why I'm thinking, right? Why is Elrond negotiating with him? Wouldn't the king be doing that? And it's like, oh, the king wouldn't walk into the middle of the orc army. Well, neither should Elrond. It's retarded. It's completely, exposed. But the person who has the authority to negotiate, right? If the army will, grant mercy and they'll won't avoid the fight, it would be Gil-galad. Gil-galad is there. We saw him. He had the crap sword on his side. So why isn't Gil-galad doing it? Don't know. Bet he is. Piston for $2 says, is Rings of Power going to blue ball the Balrog for season 2? They might. I don't think so. I think the Balrog's going to come out next episode. It'll be hilarious if they blue ball again, though. I would laugh if they did that. UP Shoot for $2 says, non-consensual kiss. Cancel Elrond immediately. Could be. Oh my gosh. So Galadriel. Yeah, sorry, that was the kiss. Elrond is out, and he's like, he sends his friend to go. The dwarves go get. They're going to be on the way, and you can go to run it. Meet them, bring them here. And so that's going to save us, because this is also where they mentioned that they are outnumbered 10-1, the elves. Now that's important for the later battle, because they just kind of forget, like the elves end up fighting the orcs and running in and attacking anyway, and they aren't dealing with a 10-1 number ratio. It's more like even numbers throughout most of the battle. But they say it here, and then they contradict it through nearly all the fighting. And then, so he sends off the guy, and now we're back to the dwarves. Buddy Rabbit for $10 says, so who's excited for the reveal that Adar is a piece of Sauron's soul after his defeat in the First Age that was corrupted by Morgoth, and they'll be rejoining in the Flaming Eye? It could happen. It could be a theory. We will see. There's lots of theories. One is Adar Celeborn? I was thinking that Sauron had Celeborn locked away, but that isn't. Now that plan shouldn't be able to be possible. Will it revealed in season 2? Just taking off my headphones briefly because my ears are getting sore. So it shouldn't echo because I don't have any audio playing, but when we play the screen, maybe I have to pause it. Still, thank you for the super chat, Buddy Rabbit. Gel I'm bad at pronouncing things. For $2 says, Arwen will be Galadriel's daughter. Oh no, I don't think Arwen is. Granddaughter? Is it? Still, thank you for the super chat. So we are back with the dwarves. And remember, the dwarves, wow, doesn't stick with the dwarves very long. I'm trying to remember what happens. Is this the speech? I think it is. Because this is either they lead into it, because they cut to Galadriel sneaking out there. And so it can't be the full speech. This must be the lead into it. And I got comments. I got things to say about the speech. Great tale of our age is being written. Desperate to be like, oh, this is epic and meaningful. And so then Galadriel, that's the thing that Elrond gave her, and it can pick the lock of the manacle. So she's going to, and so we are back with Durin giving a speech, and the speech is to basically convince the dwarves to rise up and go to war to protect Eregion. And I was like, okay, he would have some convincing to do, wouldn't he? Dwarves haven't gotten really on well with elves, and I don't think the elves really think that they're kind of friends at this point. They got the the rings from the elves, that might be something, but is that enough to make like a really strong alliance? Because basically Durin's logic in his speech, and is this him still speaking, doing the kind of thing? Because he says, yes, elves stole the 7 smithing secrets from return. Oh, no, he's saying this is where he reveals Sauron has returned, who stole the secrets. Okay. I'm back on track with where things are at. Because this is where it's revealed that Durin knows Sauron made the rings and is not trying to save his father, who's now under the influence of Sauron, confirmed. Okay. But we're going to forget that, and then we've got to go help the elves. Rick Johnson, $5 says, 6 a.m. in Los Angeles, baby, joining you 2 hours in. Isn't every episode the worst so far? Yeah. Although, I mean, episode 1 was, I think, probably was the worst out of them all, because the sludge, Sauron defeat, ice fart explosion, stupid nonsense, breaking the terrible canon of season 1, but still breaking the canon of season 1 and contradicting and then revealing that Sauron only ran into Galadriel by sheer happenstance. Like, wow, so much dumb in episode 1. That was kind of the worst up to this point for me. And this one, yeah, this one takes the cake. Because there is so much. The stupid is so dense in this episode. And so Durin reveals, yes, he knows Sauron is around and he makes the rings, doesn't care about his dad, stuff him. But is saying Sauron's going to stoke our greed, and because of our greed, he thinks we won't help him in the battlefield without a fight. But we are stronger than he knows, and we care more about the thing that we care more for riches is friends. And so fight with me, and we're going to go help our friends. And what's funny is I think even the way I said it made it sound more logical than the way he is saying it in his speech. Because the way that I had to listen to it a second time to just break down, hang on, what is he actually saying? Because there's no real strong argument. Like, the logic is there saying, oh, no, fight with me, and we give something about friends and stuff. It was poorly structured in terms of a speech, not something that would swell the desire to risk your life and go to war. But that's essentially it. And even then, I'm thinking, most of the dwarves at this point think the elves are such close friends. Now, I think in the Silmarillion, the elves and dwarves were close at this time, but they haven't shown in the show those friendships being properly built. Only like, oh, here's some rings and we made a door for you, speak friend and enter. But they haven't struck up strong trade. And now that the dad, Durin the Elder has the ring on, he's been more like, stuff, the elves are doing things ourselves. We're not going to give them the mithril and kind of stuff like that. And so I don't feel like they're there to justify, the dwarves will be fully on board. We are Harbinger points out that for $2, like 2 months ago, they didn't even know elves. It seemed like, that was the kind of impression I got, that the ties weren't so strong that a call to help their friends, the elves, would be that powerful and rallying. And they really do attempt to try and make this the epic speech. And it doesn't hold a candle to like when Aragorn calls everyone to war, where there may come a time when the hearts of men fail, but it is not this day. That is a great speech. Or when the King of Rohan gives this speech, where it's like, we ride to death, right? There's some good war speeches. This is what Rings of Power's sad attempt is. And they have the music in the background. And look, the actor is giving it his all, but I'm sorry, you're forcing it. You're not really doing it, right? But the dwarves, they're just like, yeah, they're all on board. Yeah, don't you remember this one? Yeah, ride to ruin and the world's ending death. Like, there was some good stuff in the Jackson trilogy. So it feels forced, and I don't think they earn it. And it's kind of contradicted by, like, he's trying to say, we're gonna fight and save our friends, and I'm just thinking, were you really friends though? Like, and the other big problem that's happening here, I don't think Durin has the authority to call the army. Wouldn't they just say, okay, what does the king say? what is that going to tick him off? Aren't there generals that have authority that you might need to, but like, they've forgotten about the king, even though they have confirmation is under the influence of Sauron, completely forgotten. And Durin is just like, I'm taking you all to war. And then they're all like cheering, Khazad-dûm. Lots of the dwarves are all on board. And I kind of find it funny because he wasn't addressing this group of dwarves, right? See where he is here? He is like, wouldn't that be the place to have the speech? Instead, do you see the group of dwarves sitting here? He's standing behind this rock, there's stairs, and is addressing a smaller group of dwarves through most of his speech. Let's see if we shows them. See, that's this tiny little group of dwarves right here. And there's like a massive group of dwarves off to the side that is not even projecting or speaking to. And then after he gives the speech, is like, oh yeah, so he was only talking to these group. He walks over and like, wouldn't it be more powerful if he was addressing like a larger group? This group right here? But it's like, no, they kind of forgot about it. They're just like, even small things like that. Even small things. Why are they doing stuff that just is silly and dumb? This episode, it's hard to get through. We'll do it. See, Justica for 199 says, ride for bats and for more loaves of bread. Well, Deezer can control the bats. Piston for $2 says, EFAP is going to have a field day with episode 7. Like, holy crap. Yes. Gosh, this is easily going to be the longest Rings of Power review stream. And it's the worst one. That's why. It's just, there's so much to point out. And there was like, we've had some whoppers, some massive, stupid moments in this episode. Like, the machine, the device breaking down the wall, the reveal of why Sauron manipulated Adar to be there, why the girl was on the wall, just to die, but why do they put her there? And the artillery trebuchets knocking down half a mountain. Like, wow, we got big ones. This is so I think we've just reached the halfway mark. Oh, maybe we'll get through the second half quicker because there's a lot of fighting and battles, and it's all chaotic, and there's not much to comment on in those things. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. So we got the fighting, and even this, I was like, all right. They said they're outnumbered 10-1, but they're just and then they also said they'll wait for the dwarves to arrive, but I guess they're not. They're just going to fight. And like they almost wipe out their entire force, even though they established they just need to wait another day for the dwarves to arrive, and then we can take them on. But they're not doing that. They commit their forces to fight the orcs anyway, and basically get wiped out to the point at the end. We will see there's only like 20 elves left facing off against the orcs. So it's just more examples of this show not even paying attention to what it's trying to set up. It tried to say, yeah, elves will wait until the orcs arrive, but they don't. And then they wipe themselves out, and then the dwarves don't arrive anyway. But that's the tragedy at the end of the episode. And so they're all there, they're fighting, and Elrond, he gets knocked off his horse. He fights with another orc. This orc kills his horse, right? And so Elrond, he needs to kill him bigger. He needs to like do a big kill because this orc just killed his horse. So he's gonna, and the way he's gonna do it is by potentially kill people in Eregion. Seriously, that's what happens. He kills the orc. I better take the sound off for that. He kills the orc, and skewers him on one of the trebuchet shots, and then he decides to like launch the trebuchet, which is aimed at the city. It might kill some of the soldiers on the wall and stuff like that. He doesn't care. He needs to kill the orc anyway. It's just like, Elrond, you might actually hurt your own side. You don't want, the trebuchets launching more projectiles at the city, but no, he's gonna really kill that orc. He splattered, and just because convenience and contrivance, it does nothing this time. I mean, those trebuchets could knock down a mountain, except when it's the plot doesn't want it to, and then it just bounces off a wall harmlessly, because that's the consistency of this show. See you, Jessica, for 199 says, have to go, have my super chat and my axe. Thank you, Signet on Jessica. We appreciate you, sir. Yeah, he needed to kill him bigly. And so that's the quality of the fighting in this episode. And Elrond says goodbye to his horse. The city is still doing, and then remember the device, right? We get to see it in action. This is where we see it at work. It's nonsense. We already kind of went into detail on this. It would just yank the nails out of the wall, but they just a battering ram isn't distinctive or cool enough. Rings of Power, they want to be special, so they can't think of anything creative though, because their version of something cool and special, something really dumb. And so look at that! It just like explodes part of the wall. That's not how that would work. We might need to just watch that again. I'll full screen it just so we can experience it. Because they're like, that's enough. That'll do. And it's ridiculous. This is nonsense. But watch. See it as super effect. Boom! Holy crap. Yeah, it's comical. It is comical. It's like, what the hell was that? You right? Yeah. And so, oh dear, they're going to breach the wall. Well, not yet. Got to take more time. And now it's nighttime. And basically, remember this guy? He's the orc that doesn't want to fight because of his family, and other orcs don't want to fight because of their family. Unless they're being charged by cavalry, then they're all ready to die, and they're all really enthusiastic because this show is inconsistent crap. But anyway, his back to not wanting to fight. But Adar says we've got to take down that wall at any cost. We are harboring Elven architecture, I guess. That's right. And it's like, you told us you loved us. And it's like, I do love you, but that's why we have to kill Sauron, because he will enslave you. That's basically this scene. And I already mentioned how nonsense this is in other, reviews about them wanting to make them sympathetic. And they want their cake and eat it too, because then they also show the orcs being bloodthirsty nutters. Adar comes in and he finds Galadriel missing. 2 of his orcs are dead. And that's the thing she had that picks his lock. Is like, dang it, sound the alarm, search the camp, except where I'm around, and we're not going to have any alarm or any searching because she walks past him. And even though he said sound the alarm and search everything, when he passes her, it's like nothing. Do we see it? This is her trying to sneak around, dressed as an orc. And this is him just walking right past, like, oh, Adar, you really look like you're sounded that alarm, and everyone is searching for Galadriel here. They're like, no, he's now doing a funeral farewell, even though his crucial, like having Galadriel locked away was so, gave him so much leverage. He stopped an entire cavalry charge that could have wiped out his army because they were stupid and lined up for them, right? So that was a pretty crucial, negotiating leverage right there. But I guess her escaping isn't as, concerning as he was saying. And she just walks past him. But of course, she does get confronted by some orcs. And At first I was going to be like, are they just going to have her be so amazing that she's going to save herself? And she kind of does, where she breaks free, but it was Elrond helping her. So, okay. And I'm glad that, she did need help, yet they then do it with basically Deus Ex Machina, where some guy just luckily discount Legolas just comes upon her. They could have done something to logically justify that there was a rescue attempt sent by Elrond, that maybe discount Legolas noticed that she was being held captive and has been stalking around the outskirts of the camp. But instead here, it's just like random arrow from nowhere saving her life. Right at the perfect moment. We're talking like, gosh, if he didn't come in here, Galadriel right here, she would just be completely stuffed once again. And so it's like, the orc is like, look at that pretty hair. You're the elf person. We're going to get you. We got you. But then luckily for bang, right there, arrow in the head. Perfect timing. Deus Ex Machina, and another arrow. An arrow kind of looked like it came from a different direction. And then she looks around and yep, it's him. It's discount Legolas is there. She's like, thanks for saving me. He wants to go after Ada. She's like, nah, you'll die. Don't do that. It would be a pity to lose you. And then they go and escape back to the dwarves. And so Durin is ready, right? To go and save the elves. Super elf to the rescue, basically. And he's like all armored up, but then the counselor guy says, your father, he turned his axe on my men. So the king, right, instead of being a bit suspect that his people are being rallied to war, is like, nah, I'm gonna go mine deeper, because that is the ring has fully made him go crazy. I didn't think the dwarf rings did that, but that in this show it does. Made him go crazy, and if no one's gonna mine, he'll do the mining himself, and he'll kill anyone that gets in his way. And he's got superpowers because of the ring. Remember how he like threw Durin halfway across the room when Durin tried to take the ring off him in one of the previous episodes? Yeah, he's a super dwarf now. We Are Harbinger for $2 says, imagine if orcs could see in the dark. Imagine that, right? They technically should be able to. I think that's what you're getting at there. Because she just like walks past a lot of orcs, and even though it's supposed to be on high alert searching for her, no one's actually looking for her, and only one sees her by happenstance. But consistency. The show's great at it. And so that's a bit of a problem. Is like, then he's going to loose that beast. And at this point, I was thinking, weren't they just like suspicious that there was something bad down there? Deezer heard a growl. They don't really know what it is. Now it seems like they know what it is. It's the big one. It's going to loose the beast. That's why we got to stop digging, and we're all screwed. And so Durin, you got to go do that. And Durin's like, but what about Elrond? It's like, no, we need the army to defeat the beast, even though they shouldn't really know what the beast is. But suddenly now they seem to know it's going to be the Balrog. And so Durin's like, well, Khazad-dûm will, the guy who is talking to Durin says, Khazad-dûm is going to be just die if you take the army away, because we're going to need the army to fight the beast that they shouldn't really know that they'll need an army to fight, because they shouldn't know that it's that powerful. But, oh no, Durin, what are you going to do? He can't send the army. And, bad luck. And so here's Celebrimbor making the rings, even though we've gone through it. The leverage is nonsense. The logic is nonsense. It's just like, Sauron, like, does he have power to save the city? No. I mean, he's like, maybe if he leaves the city, then Adar will take his army, not besiege it, right? But he hasn't told Brimbor that. And also Brimbor, again, he should realize that these are making doomsday weapons for the devil. Probably not the right exchange. And he realizes it later. He's like, after he makes the rings, and anyway, there's like this discussion where Sauron's like, oh, you really forced me to do these mean things to you because you wouldn't cooperate. And Brimbor's like, well, you are a great deceiver. You've even deceived yourself. This is where, Sauron was kind of gaslighting him, saying, it's your problem. I'm but a victim of your obstinance. And Brimbor was like, you've deceived yourself. But Brimbor, you're still making the rings, you idiot. You know that they're doomsday weapons. But anyway, Sauron leaves, a bit miffed that Brimbor. See, Brimbor was mean to him. He spoke back to him. So yeah, that's him in the back. He just walks off. He's like, well, fine, I'm leaving you. All right. Super chat from Nick Filoni, $5 says, did Galadriel really make out with the man who marries her daughter? Yeah. Yep, she did. Thank you for the super chat. See you, Jessica. I'm back. What did I miss? It's all a blur. It's like, what? I don't know. I can't even remember what I spoke about a half a second ago. So Brimbor basically, like, he finishes the rings and then is like, now I'll destroy the rings right after I make it. Like, this is him, like, and it's done. But then he hears the whispers and he just tries, like, I better destroy these rings. Like, you know what, if you didn't even finish making them, that might have been the better option, but he only realizes it now. The idiot. So he tries to throw them in a fire. This is him dropping them into the flames. And they're trying to, call back to when the one ring was thrown into flames. But the reason why that scene works and this one doesn't is that they weren't actually trying to destroy the rings. Gandalf knew the ring wouldn't be destroyed when they threw it into the fire there. And Brimbor should know that this is a ring of power. A fire is not going to melt these doomsday magical powerful ring weapon things, right? Wouldn't he put it in like a smelting, crucible or something to really do the job? But no, he's just like, this will do the job. But of course it doesn't. We know it doesn't. And just, it doesn't make sense that Brimbor thinks that this would destroy the rings either. But of course it doesn't work. And is like, well, dang it. Oh no, they'll show it in the next scene. Back to more of the fighting. Because dwarves are on fire. And now, like, the elves have fought all the way through the lines of the orcs to get to the front of the city. That's like, and they've abandoned their cavalry. It was like, where are the horses? Just kind of, I don't know, they all died, I guess, just like Elrond's did. But they're fighting on. And I don't think the orcs could have really breached the walls at this point. They're still trying to do it with the device. And I think that's what they're trying to sell in the episode. The elves are fighting through to try and get to the device to stop that horrible, big genius, smart, incredible device that can just make walls explode by hammering big nails into them and pulling on them. All right. They got to get to that and disable that, because if they don't, the walls of Eregion will fail and, they'll sacrifice their entire army to do it. And it really looks like they did. But the thing is, they said they were outnumbered 10-1. There's no chance that they could have been able to fight through those numbers to get to this point, unless most of the orc army just aren't even there. They're just like, 10% of our forces. That should be enough to, because it really looks like even numbers through the fighting. And they're all, and it's not engaging because you're not invested in what's going on. The rings didn't get destroyed. Brimbor's like, darn it, foiled, even though I made them and they're epic powerful. How could I not know? So then he puts them in a bag. But the problem is, guys, he's locked. He's locked there. He can't get free because he's manacled to his workstation. And, look, wouldn't you think that a workshop that has the ability to make the most powerful magical artifacts in the world would have a tool somewhere that could break apart a manacle? You would think that would be logical. But no, Brimbor is such a brain-dead, doorknob-licking moron that he tries a little bit to get this manacle off, and he just can't do it. He just can't do it. And look, he even tries to hammer it and wedge it apart, but he can't think of, there's no other tool. The elves, they don't know what a hacksaw is or haven't invented it, even though they can make rings of power. But he can't, this defeats the master smith, these manacles, right? Senior Justica for $4.99 says, elves can tank pyroclastic flows. They can easily take on a few billion orcs. There's the logic. That's probably what they're using, right? Yeah, so he can't figure out how to, it's an absolute brainlet, right? And so because there's just clearly no other way, in the most equipped, advanced, magical workshop in the world to bust open manacles, the only way he can get free is going to be by chopping off his thumb. And they're going to put a lot of, they're going to dwell on it a lot. They're going to, stretch it out, show the thing that'll chop off his thumb. And that's what they're going to use to justify him getting free. And is just so desperate and on the edge to do it. We already read that super chat. Thank you, Senior Jessica. The thing is, though, what's funny is later on in the episode they show what he chopped off, and it's like that right there. You still have this bone and wrist part that you wouldn't be out even chopping off this part of the thumb, right there. You still have. You'd need to chop off basically this part of your hand entirely, but he doesn't. He chops it off like right on the stub. And so you wouldn't be able to get that through the manacle anyway. So they try and, have this moment, but they can't even sell it. And he, by what they show, he wouldn't even be able to pull it out of the manacle. They can't even do this right. And it's all retarded anyway, because he's in the most advanced smith workshop in the world and he can't figure out how to bust open a manacle. Friggin' moron. This is just one example amongst many examples of what you just can't take this show seriously. It's like they're going out of their way to make it so stupid that you just have to groan at it. And so, he chomps it down. And it's like, whose will is mightier, Sauron? I'll chop off my hand. Even I won't figure out how to open with tools. Right. Davish49 says, my buddy DM'd me this morning saying it was a good episode. Yeah, bloody right. Look, if somehow, some way, people are able to get enjoyment out of this slop, all power to them. I'm glad they can enjoy it. Oh, but I think anyone who applies any level of critical thinking and attention to this is nonsense. It falls apart. Like, look, we've been going for for 2.5 hours at the constant barrage of stupidity in this episode. Senior Jinjustica for $4.99 says, Sauron, I will chain Brimbor in his own forge and trust that he will go along with me with my overly elaborate scheme without escaping, right? And I mean, he also forgot that he can mind control people as well. His mind control later on is next level. He can get people to just kill themselves. Anyway, so Brimbor is like, I'm sorry, I've got stronger will. I chopped off my thumb. Even though it wouldn't have freed him, he didn't chop off enough. Region is really getting blown to bits. Look at that. Gosh. And he must have snuck out like what? Escape because there's water? Is this like I don't know, some aqueduct offshoot thing? He gets knocked down. Another one where he almost dies again. This is him also trying to sneak out the 9 rings, but boom, knock, he falls down. He's almost dead. Other elves come and help him, right? And they don't believe him, but Galadriel arrives and is like, you release him at once, because I'm Galadriel and I'm you. Everyone listen to me. And everyone does, even though, like, if they knew anything about Galadriel, it's just like toneless. It's just awful. She's like betrayed the elves, everything. They're like, she's back, and you see the stub of his finger there. It's pretty dark. There's another angle where they show that, you only cut off the little bit, from what I remember seeing. Anyway, Brimbor's like, is this another cruel thing to torment me? Briefly, I'm just going to quickly go through my notes because I don't want to skip over anything that's funny. So, all right, I covered that. The king letting the orcs rally. There was a moment where they showed Elrond basically completely surrounded by orcs on his horse. And I'm thinking, how the hell is he going to get out of that? But they just cut away and they cut back and he's fine. because they don't want you to care about what's going on. It's like, yeah, he was imminently about to die, but we forgot about it. Senior Justice for 199 says, wait, he can command people to kill themselves? Yeah. Just wait for it. Yeah. Yeah. But he can't command Brimbor to do what is told. Because I mentioned this. They're going to forget the rules of the magic that they're showing you like what it does. They're completely inconsistent. And it's because they've shown that they do not understand power scaling, these writers. All right. So we covered completely surrounded. All right. Yeah. Covered the 10-1, you know, how they're going to do it. Yep. Elrond launching the thing. Oh, you told us you loved us. I got that note. We covered that. Yep, she escapes. Okay. I think we covered most of my notes, but sometimes there's these little nuggets that, you know, I don't want to miss. You know, oh, yeah, is going to lose the beast. All right, so I do have a note here that's like, Brimbor, when he called Elrond, you really are the great deceiver. My response was like, no, he's not. He hasn't done any smart kind of deception at all. This is like Sauron just bumbling along, random crap happening, and then just saying, oh, yeah, I planned it. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's and what's funny is the actual plans that they show him putting into place, any number of it like could have backfired and ruined everything. Like when he tells Gil-galad, not Gil-galad, Brimbor, that Gil-galad has ordered them to stop making the rings, right? It's a lie. But Celebrimbor could have just responded and said, okay, I better stop making him. That would have backfired. But instead, because he read the script, he just knows that Brimbor is like, no, I'm going to make them anyway. And we're going to even lie to the king and stuff. So Sauron has no clever and it, like this master manipulator where he manipulates an army to attack the city, which nearly gets him killed, nearly gets Brimbor killed, who was making the rings for him, and all this nonsense. It's all just stupid crap. And so he's not this master manipulator anyway. There's no clever thing happening here, and he's not this great deceiver. And so when the show says, "Oh, you are a great deceiver," that's the show just trying to gaslight you, telling you, "Yeah, he's a deceiver. Trust us. Is a good." We haven't shown him do any real clever deceiving, right? In actual fact, he's such a non-deceiver that when someone like he didn't even tell people he was like the king of the Southlands. Galadriel was telling him he was that, and his response was, "No, I'm not." He had to not deceive her. It's like, gosh, this show, man. Walla Yimuna. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Walla Yimuna 5 says, Are they trebuchets though? It could be weird type of catapults. I thought they were. Isn't that just catapults, which are much less powerful? You might be right, dude. Which is another reason they would never reach out, dude. Yeah, maybe. I think they might. You might be right. I could go back and check. I can't be stuck. This episode has given me enough brain damage as it is. I don't want to have to endure it any more than I have to. Senior Jessica for 499 says, Sauron, I get a special achievement for not using my forced suicide ability until the end of the quest. Yep. Ninja Swami for $2 says, these writers should be banned. I'm seething. It's unbelievable what they are doing to this property. Okay, so yeah, I did mention that Brimbor making the rings just looks like he's a jeweler. There's no mysticism or magic craft that they're showing. All right. Yep, he realizes he needs to destroy the rings, but he couldn't, so I got that note. Yep, I addressed that. It looks like the elves are just fighting 10 times their number. Yep, cutting off the thumb. We got that. Okay. Back on track, I think. It's funny, these guys, right? When Brimbor approaches the soldiers, see the soldiers in the background, they're basically like, no, the lord of the city, the Anatar, has ordered this, and they don't obey him. And then he has this exchange with Galadriel, and it's about who's going to take the rings to safety. And Brimbor insists that it must be Galadriel. So he, like Galadriel, the most awful person in the world, ends up having the 9 rings of men. The thing is, though, we know those rings end up in the hands of the human kings. And I'm wondering how are they going to really pull that off? Like, wouldn't the way they're going to pull it off with blatant doorknob licking stupidity that's going to break my brain again. That's how they'll pull it off. Because logically, they all know that there's no deception here anymore. In the Silmarillion, these rings, right, that Anatar manipulates and helps get made, right, they were made without anyone fully realizing the implications that they're weapons of Sauron, the devil, essentially. Which meant when they were given as gifts, people were like, hey, cool, magic ring, cool power, thanks, dude. And they put it on. They don't have that here. There's no deception. They know these are doomsday evil weapons. And so the elves should be sending proclamations to every single person in the friggin' world, every leader, king, whatever, that, oh, there's these evil doomsday weapons that the devil has made. Don't accept them. Okay? That's the logical thing that should happen, but they're not going to do that because humans have to get the ring somehow still if they're going to be, and they're not going to divert from the law that much. Who knows, knowing them, right? And so the way that they're going to do it is just like everyone's going to be stupid and they're going to forget, oh yeah, we're not going to warn anyone that the devil has made doomsday weapons to manipulate. And not only that, they know what the purpose of the rings are. For Sauron to gain control over people who wear them, all right? Galadriel says that to Gil-galad like in episode 2 of season 2. And so it's bonkers. They shouldn't... She just grabbed that out of the ether, by the way, as well. She just magically knew these are what the rings do. So that was bullcrap. But the fact that they know that as well, all right, just ruins the logic of them being, oh, but they were all of them deceived. Remember the classic line in the Jackson trilogy? For another ring was made. Well, they can't be deceived now. Like the concept that is established in Lord of the Rings is that these rings of power were made. They were given as gifts, and they were deceived because they thought these rings could help them out, and they weren't like the one ring that made everyone evil who wore them. Right? And it was only after the one ring was made that then would be realized, holy crap, we are screwed over massively. That lore is broken fundamentally now. They know what the rings do. They know who made them. So who in their right mind would let anyone put them on? And they're just going to do it out of sheer arbitrary nonsense. And everyone's going to forget. They're not going to warn people. That's what they'll do. And it's infuriating. Sarah Gould for $20 says, if nothing else, this episode confirms 2 things. 1, the Misty Mountains in TRP. My brain just went dead. The Rings of Power, yes. Not the Misty Mountains in Tolkien's works. And 2, all canonical couples are disbanded to ship any character with any other at any time. Well said. Yeah, you're right. Like it's weird. They kind of almost hint at shipping Sauron and Gil-galad at the beginning of the episode. They've been hinting shipping with Galadriel and Adar, now Galadriel and Elrond, which came out of nowhere. And they're doing it with Galadriel and Sauron because holy crap. Senior Jadaska for $4.99 says, Gil-gadadi, we know Sauron is making these evil rings, but what if we let all the most important leaders wear them anyway? That's what they're going to do that, man. They're basically going to do that. It's crazy. I mean, even Gil-galad putting on the Elven rings, knowing that Sauron had a hand in making them, is that logic? It's nonsense. But he basically was like, okay, these rings might destroy the world, but what if they don't? That's basically the logic, and it's insane. And so the show has already done it, and they're going to do it again with even worse, more corrupted rings. This show is retarded. Can't stand it. Oh my gosh. We are Harbinger for $5 says the elves will just pull a Galadriel and say nothing because she is obviously the role model for elf society. These writers are too dumb for this. Thank you for the super chat. Piston for $2 says, where is Mike Ermintrout? Is he Is he safe? Is he all right? He'll appear. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so Brimbor gives the rings to like a worse person you would, Galadriel, and Galadriel clearly is going to lose the rings to Sauron. So that's obviously what's going to happen because Sauron needs the rings to give to the Elven, unless Galadriel is the one that gives the rings to the men. I wouldn't put it past this show. She's that evil, and that's something she could do. And anyway, Galadriel's like, how will you face Sauron? Because basically Brimbor's like, I'm going to confront Sauron and delay him to let you escape with the 9 rings. Galadriel's like, how will you do it? And the other soldiers are like, he will not go alone, even though they kind of showed that they were loyal to Sauron before. And if, like, again, if anyone had any brains, if characters had these brains, they know Sauron can control and manipulate people. Brimbor has just experienced that whole thing. Sauron has been rubbing shoulders with everyone in the city. Everyone in the city is now obviously could be under his manipulation. And so you would be a little more cautious if you had brains, but no one in the show has brains. And so he's like, yep, these guys, they'll definitely, that's not going to backfire at all. We'll go and confront the devil, right? And we're going to be able to delay him. All right. So that's effectively what happens in this scene. Back to fighting. Back to the conversation. Again, it's a forced moment where he's like, oh, I'll go and save you. I got to take the rings. Galadriel's got the rings now. Okay. So the elves are desperate to try and stop that device from knocking down the wall. And they've spent a lot of time focusing on that device. That's a siege weapon that is so dangerous and powerful. And this elf here, she's the only one who can make the shot. And so Elrond's like, you got to do it. And something kind of funny happens. It's all nonsense, right? We might get the sound on for this one. So I'll chuck the headphones back on. And they're like, all right, getting ready. She needs to shoot a fire arrow. And she's the only one that can do it. So right at the moment where she needs to shoot that arrow and for some reason this arrow is going to like, this device, this siege engine, it's for some reason has TNT in it. Like, they've showed no explanation or reason that this would have flammable anything on it. It's a type of weird torsion / wooden spring giant crossbow thing device. That's how it works, okay? It's a mechanism like that. No flammable liquids needed. But one fire arrow, just watch, is that, poor boy, does that do something. But anyway, she needs to shoot the arrow. Everyone's fighting. Elrond's like, take your shot. You've got to do it. Might even full screen this one because it's one of those funny moments, right? Then boom, and she just gets nailed by an arrow. Terrible timing. And again and again. There's like 3 arrows, 4 arrows, 5, 6. Holy crap! She gets pegged by 6 friggin' arrows right on her. The worst. Damn, that timing. Gosh, she just gets full on peppered. And it's just like, this show can't do anything. Like, it's all arbitrary, when things happen just when the plot wants it to happen. And is that going to stop her? Of course not. She is going to get back up and shoot that arrow because she's just like, 6 friggin' arrows. What was it? We counted them. Now I've already forgotten. I've already want to excise it from my mind. So Jessica says, not TNT, it's wine. Well, holy friggin' crap. Watch this. This, all right, we'll turn it. Actually, let's keep this. And so she's got what? How many arrows stuck through her? 6 or 8 or whatever. It's like heaps of arrows, but she still gets up because they want that Boromir moment. But Boromir was a friggin' tank. He was this huge dude, right? I'm sorry if it's harder for me to swallow a more fragile, person being able to tank 6 arrow shots and still shoot a heavy warbow, right? It's a little harder for me to, swallow that one. But anyway, and watch this. Boom! Whoosh! Wait for it. Wait for it. They all pause. It lands in like what? A bucket of oil? I don't know why it needs oil or something, right? Holy crap! What the hell is that? That's bloody TNT! That's high level explosive. Oh, damn! I don't know why. Just like. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it's like napalm. They got a high explosives. Yeah, with arrows like these, who these friggin' tanks? Like, holy crap! I love the smell of a napalm in the morning. It's wine, explosive orc wine. That orc has made a C4. It's a cartoon. We're watching a friggin' cartoon that's actually trying to convince you to take it seriously. Holy crap. And it goes up a secondary. Like, look at this. It's got so much explosive force. It's knocking orcs off their feet, man. Kaboom. Holy crap. And then she's like, oh, now I can die because I've done what I needed in the plot. Holy crap. Do you remember in like the Two Towers that they had an explosive device in the Two Towers, but they like that was made by smart people. Whereas like explosive devices, like material, that would be kind of rare and exceptional. Okay, maybe it's a hidden recipe that only one of the wisest, and well, he is wise but also evil, wizards knows how to make. And Sauron makes basically, gunpowder. And that's where the Uruk-hai get the explosive device that takes out the thing. All right. So smart people, explosives in a medieval fantasy setting, kind of exceptional. You would want to explain it. Rings of power made by dumb people. And they have a random bucket filled with some mysterious ooze that explodes like friggin' TNT. Gosh, do you see the contrast in just the intelligence levels of this? It's unbelievable. Gosh. And then Elrond, that's their charge. Thing is, though, right? The device is still intact. That was maybe they have more than one device because Elrond also disables the device later on. And so I need to go back. Like, what were they exploding? I thought it was the siege device, but it's just like some random bucket. Is that like the bucket of pitch that they're lighting their torches with? Is that what it is? Just it's wine. It's the for what I thank you for the super chat. All right, so I was wrong. It's not the siege device because Elrond disables that later on. We'll get there. So this was just some random bucket of explosives, and just freaking boom. It looked like there was a siege device near it, though. Can we go back like a tiny bit? Like, what is this thing? That's why I thought it was the siege device. That's like, I'm having trouble. What is that thing? I don't know. But it's explosive, whatever the hell it is. Oh, it's just comical, man. Even the boing, they have that with the arrow landing. All right, that looks like okay. Hang on. Okay, this the explosion. I luckily timed that. It is a ladder, weird tree ladder raising device. Why would that have napalm with it? Like, because you can see there's a tree ladder here, and there's a tree ladder here that this thing is raising. So that's what's exploded. Please test this explosion bucket in your garden. Okay. My brain is dead. Oh my gosh. I know it's combustion engine light eraser. And then friggin' that's not just like fuel catching fire. That is a full-on explosive material going off. Man. Yep, my brain is dead too. How come you've never heard of tree ladder napalm? And people wonder why we mock this show. Do people really like? Is it that much of a stretch? How can people be surprised that we think this show is astounding garbage, right? Well, someone might have that answer here. Explosive go boom. My brain does a happy. The average rings a power enjoyer. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Oh, wow. And so then Elrond, he's charging in now. And it's just random chaotic mess. No structure to it. The orcs aren't making any lines. And Edar's like, it's time. It's time for the big gun. Senior Justica for 499 says, Orc Quartermaster. Organizing things for war is easily. Flammable things go with flammable things. You put the matches next to the wine. Gosh. So yeah, remember the sad orc, the orc with his family? He's like, no, don't bring out that big troll monster. He's going to kill some of our own people. And Adar's like, bring him out anyway. And he's sad, and they're going to be sad. Discount Legolas is on the wall now, defending people. And he's like, what's that? So, oh, are they retreating? No, they're not retreating. They're making a path. And this is where, so I forget the name, but one, and my brain is already being melted because I know one of the super chatters. Sorry, I forgot which one. I was saying that this is the Mike Ehrmantraut one. That is based on that. This is that or the troll, because they're like, oh no, something bad is coming. See, and there he is. This is. Can you see him right there? That's him coming out. Ready? Let's hear it. Dum da da. No, what will they do? And now this is Sauron. He's big mad because the rings are gone. And Brimbor is back. And oh gosh, this is that scene. It's relentless. It's relentless. So your Jessica for 199 says, looks like peace is back on the menu, boys. He's not there to bring peace. Okay, so the soldiers come, they confront Sauron, they draw their swords, and he's like, well, everyone's been under my control. And let's where is it? This is the line. You think it was only you who put yourself in my power? And so this is insane. This power is actually crazy. And he only uses it now. And that means he could what are the rules? Like, what proximity do you need to be to put yourself in his power so much that he can mind control you? Because he was in Celebrimbor's vicinity more than these soldiers. So Celebrimbor should be able to be under his control vastly more than these soldiers, right? But he has such control over these soldiers that he can just full on, he's like using his magic power. They turn their swords on each other, and then he gets them to kill each other. Just all commit suicide and kill each other. Just like that. Boom. Dead. Holy crap. Like, okay, sure, right. That's a really powerful, useful, magical ability, but he was going to forget about it so much. And even there's like one guy left. Or is it Brimbor who picks up the sword? Oh no, there's the one guy. He's still there. And basically is like, no, easy dodge, and you're about to die. He just looks at, and he just freezes. He just freezes. He lets go of his hand, gives Sauron the sword, and Sauron just slices his throat open. He's dead as well. Okay, so he's showing that he has crazy mind control powers. Would be really useful in a lot of other situations. But he's not. I wonder if that'll even come up again. It'll mind control anyone else at any other moment. Probably not, because they're so consistent. Senior Don Justica for $1.99 says, Sauron, bet you didn't know that I could do that. Surprises me. I wasn't expecting that. And Brimbo's like, oh, okay then. All right, back to the battle. Remember the battle? It's because we're so engaged and invested. We really want to see what's going on. Big orc guy, and the orc guy is basically gonna try and take. Sorry, not orc guy. Troll guy, big troll guy. He's going to try and take down the wall, and he's like, we can't let him do it. Stop him, shoot arrows. The arrows don't really work much. Adar's watching. And look, he's like picking up people, he's throwing around, he's killing lots of orcs, lots of elves, and they're having a lot of hard time killing him. Elrond basically gets yeeted here. So Elrond runs to the siege engine that's going to knock down the wall. That thing. You remember that thing? And he's like trying to, like, a good sharp sword should be able to chop through a rope like this in one solid swing. Like this is a tough friggin' rope. He can barely chop through it, and it's arbitrary tension that's not being sold. Whereas, like, if the plot was, that show is like this. If it was convenient for a plot that he would chop through it the instant one hit, it'll be one hit. But it's not convenient in the plot, and in fact, they want something so timed to perfection. It's bullcrap that he's going to chop it just enough to have one strand, so the strand is going to have enough time to hold on for Elrond to get knocked out of the way, and for it to go off just as the troll is there to gut hit the troll and knock him off his feet. Because it's that nonsense. And so he can barely get it off. Let's watch Elrond get yeeted. He still can't get through this rope. Like hitting, and that's a tough rope. And then the troll just looks how far. All right. That would kill someone. Of course, Elrond is fine. Elrond jumped off of a cliff face and survived. So he can just shrug this off. We Are Harboring for $2 says, this battle is like a bad video game. Zero stakes. Zero stakes. 100% right. Who gives a crap what's going on? And even Don Lemonless is having trouble taking out the troll here. And look, see that rope? Frayed just enough. And then right when the troll gets close enough, smack, hits the troll perfectly. Gosh, good thing that rope was so hard to chop through that it then got frayed just enough that it only broke just when the troll was there. Because, I mean, if he chopped through that in one hit, that probably would have spun back and hit Elrond. Because he was in the line of fire, by the way, they're showing this. And so that troll actually saved his life. Maybe they thought of that. It's like, he's in the line of fire. We need something to save. I know, we'll have the troll kick him out of the way. Because they can't think. He could have just dodged it. Chop. Dodge. Anyway, it's crap. Anyway, the troll that was an ouchie. He didn't like that. But screw that. He's going to pick up the thing himself and ram it himself. And so now he is using it just as a battering ram? Like, funny that. A battering ram. What a novel idea. That's like a siege edge that can knock down a wall. Wow. Oh, wonder why they didn't use that. Because they're clearly showing it works. See, now it's just ramming it into the wall. So instead of having this convoluted bullcrap device where they're hammering big nails into the wall, just use a battering ram. That can work. They had a battering ram in the Jackson trilogy and they made it look badass. But it's like, no. They gotta be there. They either have to rip it off blatantly or make something retarded because they think they have to do something different and be special. Can't. And the funny thing is, either one could actually work with talented writers. You can lift something, be inspired by something, and give it kind of a respectful nod by having it like, a bit of a Easter egg line appear. But it feels like they're just ripping off because they want, it started rings. Gandalf, he learned the line of, smelling nice in that direction. And, some people live who deserve to die and some people die. No, Gandalf learned that from Rings of Power, right? Because they want that to be, they're special. They made the origin of those important lines. And so, but no, they could have done it if they was talented to have good moments like that. And if they were smart, they could make up new stuff that's novel and original, right? That isn't just retarded bullcrap like this siege engine. Yeah, the battering ram. It was like a living thing. It had, it was a claw, it had fire coming out of its mouth. And so, yeah, now he just uses it like a battering ram. They're all shooting him. They got to take him out. And finally, Gil-galad, the actual leader of the army, the king, right, who has been nowhere to, wasn't even there with the negotiations of the army, right? Now he appears. There he is. He's on a horse, and he comes in because they forgot about him before. But remember, he's still here, and he rides in and slices a troll's leg. That knocks the troll off his feet, and then everyone kind of dogpiles and kills him. And troll dies. Discount Legolas jumped off the wall onto him, stabs him. And it's funny, like, he calls Elrond, like, this is him calling Commander. He's calling Elrond, he's like, finish it. Why don't you finish it up? Why do you need Elrond? But you could just pull out your sword and stab him again. But Elrond comes in and then stabs him as well, because, sure, it's my kill. And then he stabs him, and then he dies. He laughs, and he dies. And that's like, they devoted some marketing kind of promotion on that troll, even saying he's like inspired by what's his name, and he appears only there and one previous scene, and that's it. That's what it is. Pathetic. And he dies like a useless wet fart. Piston for $2 says, Mike Ermintrout is finally here. Unalive them all. Well, he's already dead. He came in and he died, and he achieved very little and killed a couple of elves. That's it. Yep. It's a disappointing troll. Oh, wow. Anyway, the king's back. You remember the king? Carmen Rider KFP $5 says, so much for the eater of dragon's bones and slayer of stone giants. I know. Like, how underworld, what a pathetic use of a big troll. We have this one. Piston for $2 says, no, my sweet boy, stupid elf king, I hate you. Well, it wasn't just the elf king. It was the elf king slashed his legs. Then Discount Legolas jumped on him, kicking him down, landing on him, stabbing him. And then Elrond comes in and stabs him too. And that's how he dies. He was not 2-timed, he was 3-timed. Took a threesome to take him out. All right. So now, because Adar, all right, he just like let the elves fight through heaps of his orcs, get close to the wall, defeat his siege engine, stopping them from breaking down the wall. And apparently he has all these other orcs just hanging out with him and is like, yeah, let's get him now. It's like, where were you before? You could have stopped the elves easily from getting to the wall, take it out. Okay, so Adar's a retard and doesn't know how to commit his forces where they need to go and just let the elves fight through heaps of his own people and undermine your siege attempt in taking out the wall. Good job, retard. All right, but now he's willing to send more orcs in. And they're ready to go. But remember the sad orc? He doesn't want to fight because fighting is like, fighting's bad. This is the sad orc. Senior John Justica for $4.99 says, the troll came across dragons and giants that were already dead and claimed he killed them. It's probably that, because he wasn't that tough. All right, so now the orcs are just, there's more orcs. The more orcs are coming in, and they're all going to charge, because where were they? But it is daytime. Elrond looks to the side and is like, the dwarves, they are coming because now it's daylight. And he saw someone on the hill. See, he looks up and it's like, yes, we have our support. Our rallies are here. But it's just a single guy on a horse. It's the guy that he sent to meet with the orcs, and he's dying. He's been hit with arrows, and he only returns to base. Oh, by the way, he returns to basically tell them the orcs aren't coming, and then he dies. This is what I think they're showing is left of that. Remember that massive force of elves on their horses, several hundred, if not several thousand. Pretty sure this is what's left of them. What is that? 30 elves? It's like, good job just suiciding your cavalry, your army, and you got nothing left. Yeah, CGI removed. All the CGI army. Yeah, no, this is interesting. The river wasn't that deep. Look at that. You're right. You know why they did it? It's because they need a battlefield. They don't want to do what's logical and what a natural river would be, where it'd have this pretty deep kind of center. No. It's just a really shallow river. The orcs could have waded across that almost. My gosh. A good catch there. So, holy crap, the elves are stuffed. And he says Durin recalled their army. Dwarves aren't coming. Now, they still might do like a fake out where the dwarves do arrive. He was just delayed. Or they'll teleport there, or the Balrog will wipe them out. I don't care. There's a chance they still might appear. I wouldn't put it past them. But anyway, so that's him. The Elven army has been decimated. And the orcs have still a massive amount of army. And so I find it funny that it's like, okay, so if you just had those orcs hanging around, the walls, the elves wouldn't have gotten close enough to disable the siege engine. They are insanely outnumbered. Like, look, there's another orc army just sitting back. So, yeah, Adar is a moron. Absolute moron battle commander here. And anyway, so, like, there's no way the elves are going to win. There's like 30 people left. But they're badass elves, so they're just going to run in and they're just going to fight them. Because they're just that tough. And like, that's not how the numbers really show. Senior Jessica for 1.9 says, the bats have come to save us. I'm sorry, mate. No bats. So there's more fighting. The king wants Gil-galad. He gets some fighting, and he is an interesting double staff. Like, I don't mind the idea of a double-bladed staff weapon, but the shape of the blades look really weird. In actual fact, I'm not even sure I think it's like got blade on what face. The staff has a blade facing one way and on the other and facing the other way. And if that's the case, that's a really dumb weapon. Oh yes, I forgot. But I'm happy to remember everyone. Discount Legolas. He gets killed. He dies. Oh, I forgot about that. Gosh, it's good to see an annoying, awful character just leave that you don't have to put up with anymore. Clearly not the reaction they want the audience to have. But yeah, everyone, he dies. Yes. Everyone is cheering. Or there's this reaction. Oh no. Anyway. Yeah, I know. Finally. Don't have to put up with him anymore. But ready, want to see him get killed? He tries to fight Adar, and Adar just basically shrugs him off. Like, this is it. I'll get you, Adar. Adar catches an arrow. It's like, that's not going to happen. But he does a big kick, and then Adar comes and stabs him right in the chest. He gets out an arrow, stabs at Adar back. Adar shrugs it off. It's like, get stuff. That's not going to work. And then boom! I think I'm liking Adar at this point. I mean, I've been wanting Sauron to win. Nah, I reckon I like Adar. He's an idiot. Terrible battle commander. But I still think I want him to win. And they've gone so hard to try and make Adar sympathetic, you know. He's a genocidal, insane, evil person, but he just wants to. He's orcs. He loves his orcs. But you're right. This is an Adar W. Go team Adar. He killed finally. I wouldn't like. I actually thought they wouldn't kill him off because he was the awesomest, toughest super elf. Kiss him. You know, though, I wonder if he'll like have him injured in a bed next episode. Let's see how he knocks him down, boots him in the face, dude. That's how you do it. Like, look, he's an idiot, but he's got some sass. He's got some style. Watch him walk off like a Chad. It's like, dude, take him out. But look, he might still survive that. It's not a like. Maybe we're celebrating prematurely, guys. He only got stabbed twice, but he, like I said, I'd be surprised. I was surprised that they'd kill him off. They might not still. That needs to be confirmed. We will see. So we will see. Oh no! Someone says he's not dead. He was crawling. Shad, false hope. That's a blue ball. They were actually threatening us with a good time for once in this show. All right, so the orcs have lost their engine. So now they've hammered more nails into the stone, and the nails are just latching on because they're magical nails. They won't get pulled out. And I remember I've already talked about the logic of them being barbed. They wouldn't latch onto stone. That's not how that would work. So Jessica for 199 says he will return as Arondir the White. That would be problematic. I'm not sure they'll do that. This is an interesting. Bronwyn survives. Oh no, never mind. All right, so yeah, they're there now. They can pull the wall down, and they do. The wall is down, and they're going to rush in. They have finally got that wall. It's not that wall is not that big, honestly, for a real defensive wall. At least it's appropriately thick, though. It's a thick wall, and they're in, and they're stabbing people. They're stabbing elves. And like, so the king's pretty much dead. Then all the elves are dead. How is Elrond going to survive this? Some arbitrary nonsense. Adar probably just say, I'm going to keep you alive for reasons. Elrond, look at this. Chad Adar catches Elrond's knife. Look at that. You don't have a hope, Elrond. And then just lifts him up. It's funny. They might have been able to do something with Adar. They've just made him a moron. And it's in a terrible show. But rarely there's these tiny little glimmers of, oh, they might have been able to do something not terrible. Tom, for $2, says Adar has more rings of power than Sauron. Possibly. Oh, yeah, this is where so he gets the ring because Elrond has Galadriel's ring, remember? And so this was him. He picks him up. He's pretty tough. Elrond is struggling. What? I don't know what's going on with his face. Look at his face here, right? Like they've done something that is a weird CGI effect. It looks like a face replacement. It's like a deep fake. What is going on with his face? Look at it. That looks weird. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, like that is CGI. It looks terrible. So okay, that random thing happens, and then he just throws Elrond down, and look what he has. He got the ring. He's got Galadriel's ring now. And that's the episode. Da da da! Holy crap! Oh, we did it. Only took us nearly 3.5 hours. Gosh. You're right, man. That was a wild ride. Thank you for joining me. That was watching it and then reliving it. Man. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate that. What have we done to deserve this show? Why does it want to make us suffer? We made it. Not just me. You guys too. You guys helped me get through it. No, we are not watching the credits. They're better. There's no after credits or anything like that. Oh my gosh. Yep. And we still have one more episode. Holy. Oh, yeah, that was the long Shad. But we got through it. Carmen Rider KFP for $5 says, notice how it's bright day and the orcs are completely good point. I actually remember noticing that and I forgot to note it down. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, now it's bright day. The orcs are fine, even though in season 1 it was like they would be getting burnt in the sun. Thank you for pointing out. They can't, because this show is friggin' dog crap. Oh, they're so inconsistent, man. Yep, almost like the writers forgot the orcs burned in the daylight. They're orcs. That was they made Mordor to be a place where it was blotted out by the sun so they could avoid it. Thank you for the super chat. Nice. Thank you. Nice watching. Cheers. Cheers to you, Major Guild. I feel like we've gone on a journey together, everyone. We are Harbinger, $2. Finally done. Past midnight. It is. Have a good night. Thank you. Yeah. It's past 12 o'clock at night, but this was fun though. You guys made it fun. Thank you. Piston for $2. We survived, unlike Mike Hermantrout. Mike's dead. He died. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I'm like seeing stars, man. I'm gonna take a day to recover. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It's time for me to knock off. I do appreciate everyone joining this stream. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for just the chat generally being fun and awesome. I've really enjoyed just chatting with you guys. I like shit. I like interacting, commenting, asking you guys questions, seeing what your answers and your reactions are hilarious. Sharing that has been great. We bond by suffering together. Love it. I love it. Appreciate. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Everyone's awesome. So time to sign off. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. And as always, stay on watch.